available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
So I don't want to freak you out, but I can see inside your room from the street. Get some blinds and call me back. Or just come outside because I'm here right now. Alright. Bye. Nightfall, slow motion, and I shouldn't be here.
It is in the process. There it goes. It would be an OMFL show if there was not some kind of glitch. And I don't know what happened, but the audio just totally glitched out. It showed that it was fine. It was not fine. We're back. We're running. I apologize. Thank you, guys. It is working now. We were saying how much has happened since the last time that Mr. Trey and I have been together. And we're back, and the sound's working, and we're just going to start all over. Trey, welcome to the show. Getting settled into your new place?
Yeah, as much as I can do.
Well, a lot has happened, including crowning a new champion, one of which I'm pretty sure I had called. What do you think about our brand new champion in the San Francisco 49ers?
I mean, you knew once he got rolling again this season that it was a possibility.
Yep.
It's D-Money.
It is D-Money, and he has been active on the trade front. He has been out there making deals left and right, back and forth, doing all kinds of stuff, and it is driving our buddy Kevin absolutely insane. Kevin's going to lose his mind. Kevin is on the trade committee, so he sees all these trades coming in, and he's going nuts over here because he cannot believe all these people that are trading with Mr. D-Money. What do you think about the 49ers not only winning a championship, but looking to pile on top of that now and go even deeper next season?
The rich, you just keep getting richer in the OMFL. I mean, you look at everybody, what, Pacheco, we've got Greenlaw, there's just a bunch of stuff. He's straight Greenlaw off for a first-round pick. Like, we've talked about this in previous shows. Why do we keep feeding him stuff? Why?
I don't know either. He's in chat, so he's listening to all of this. I told Kevin today, I don't know what to say. The guy's a smart dude. He knows what he's doing, and there are people here that aren't that engaged that just give him whatever he wants. So it is what it is. I'm rocking my OMFL baseball jersey, my custom-made OMFL baseball jersey. I love this thing. I try to wear it on draft nights and pull it out of the closet. Tonight we're doing something special. We're doing two shows at the same time. Not a simulcast, but it looked like Big Hurt kind of had his own thing planned, and I normally do my draft shows, and we kind of had a little bit of conversation back and forth. I finally just was like, look, y'all go do your thing, I'll do my thing, and it'll be kind of like the NFL, two different shows that people can pop in between and go back and forth. Do me a favor, though. Make sure that you hit the like button here on YouTube. It helps me out a ton, helps out the algorithm. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Trey, let's get in here and start unpacking some things that we can be talking about. Let's get over here and take a quick look at some free agent recap. I'm just going to hit on a couple of big names here. Here's one that is shocking to me that's still out there, and I'd love to hear your input because you and I watched this guy have an amazing game. Mr. Dalvin Cook is still out there in free agency. Now he's asking $9.14 million a year. Is it confusing to you at all why this guy's still on the street?
Not really. It's, we look at we've been talking a lot about how we run almost a parody to the NFL. Running backs age really badly in Madden. He's up there in age. Do you really want to pay him $9 million a year when he could go from an 89 to an 82 as of next season, and you're locked into that contract? I think a lot of people are trying to wait till you can lock him into the 1-year contract in season free agency.
Yeah, that's a good point. But Austin Eckler, who's right there with him, 29, he's 89 overall, 91 speed, just like him. He is stronger, less agile, same acceleration, about the same carry, a hair more ball carry vision, about the same break tackle, like basically the same running back. I mean, he gets signed by the Patriots. So why did the Patriots go get Eckler? What doesn't make them close?
Austin Eckler provides a factor in the receiving game that Dalvin Cook does not.
Do you think that the catch makes that much of a difference in Madden when it comes to the running back position?
I'm not talking catch, but I'm talking 80 short route running versus 68.
Yeah.
And 70. The route running is the key factor in that aspect. It's the difference between Dalvin Cook and his injury proneness to Austin Eckler and his injury prone receiving-ness.
But he got a 5-year deal. That is a lot of money. $35.5 million from the New England Patriots, including a $21 million bonus. That's a lot of money to invest in a 29-year-old running back that's already down to 91 speed.
Yeah, well, you could pay that, or you could go pay, an extra, what would that be, $18 million or so?
Yeah.
To go pay Dalvin Cook to do the exact same thing.
I think Dalvin was asking for less. He was asking for 9.14, but his total expected was 27. Eckler got 35, so it might have been a hair less. It'd be interesting to hear from our guy Lost why he went that direction. Michael Pittman leaving the Commodores, or what is it? Is it Commodores? No. Condors. Leaving the Condors.
Just Condors, Nate.
Now he's going to play in Denver with Mr. Jay Glaze. He got himself a 5-year, $43 million contract, but listen to the bonus, $39.5 million. A young receiver, not going to be a speedster, going to be like a Michael Thomas big body guy, but man, he got paid to go over to Denver.
Yeah, Denver was looking to add to that passing group. I don't know if Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton got moved or not, but if they didn't, that's a deadly trio.
Mr. Mike Evans, he's also going over to New England. New England had the checkbook out, and they were just writing checks left and right for these guys. He gives Mike Evans a 4-year, $34.8 with $31.6 bonus as a massive contract. Again, for a 31-year-old wide receiver, they clearly are going all in on the veterans.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots are in a division that they're honestly the fourth team in it, going just based on talent. You got to do something to keep up with the Jets. You got to do something to keep up with the Bills, and you got to do something to keep up with the Dolphins. Going out there and getting some aging veterans might be the answer to that solution.
It might be, or it might turn on you just a little bit. We'll have to see how this plays out. Dak Prescott, he is still out there, along with a lot of other good quarterbacks, but this guy's only 31 years old. He just got released from the Dallas Cowboys after they bought in Fields. What do you think about Dak Prescott? He's going to be a hot commodity after the draft?
Probably. I personally wouldn't pay that kind of money for him because he is 31, and if you lock him up, if you're trying to go for a long-term answer, I don't think he will be your be-all, end-all solution to that.
I'm going to run through a couple of these. You pause me whenever you see one that you want to talk about. What do we have? Let me check the time. We've got 15 minutes before the draft starts here in a little while. And it sounds like Mr. Maniac, he just said, good luck, guys. So that my assumption is they're going to start their shows. So you got 2 shows that you can pop in and out of. Come hang out with both of us. I appreciate them making content. We got Bobby Wagner. He's going over to the Las Vegas Raiders. Malik Hooker, he's coming over to Green Bay, a guy that can still get it done at 28. Cam Jordan, our guy, Mr. Cincyberg, thinks he still has something left in the tank. 0 sacks for me last year. Let's see if he can get the Steelers a little bit more than that. Here's one that is absolutely shocking to me. Adrian Amos is still out there in free agency. This guy did make the Pro Bowl. I think he is a starter for the AFC. I'm pretty sure that is where he was. He still has plenty of speed. Yes, he's 31, but he can still make plays. He is asking for a lot of money, but his total expected contract only 16.2, so I think he's asking for a 1 or 2 year deal. I'm shocked that Amos is still out there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at Amos, he's still got the thing, but he's at that age where like his speed and stuff could drop at a snap of a finger, and if you're tied to him, because it looks like he wanted a 2 year deal, if you're tied to him that 2 years, you play him this year, he has a bad year, you could easily be hung up for another $9 million or $8 or $9 million going in next year and that's just it's a very risky thing. I think he'll be one of those high commodity guys come once we get into the season and trying to sign free agents.
The thing to keep in mind from everybody is that we do have full fine control over how fast players age, and we put a lot of time and effort creating a formula where we may not see that tremendous drop off at 30. 30 is not the death zone now for every player at every position, so it'll be interesting to see who goes out and spends that money. Zach Seller, defensive tackle, going over to the Minnesota Vikings. Tyler Boyd is still out there. Michael Gallup, he's going to go replace Mike Evans, so bringing some speed and some athleticism, a little bit more youth over there. He's 28, but he's going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Khalil Mack, he's going to Green Bay. Kareem Hunt, who's a guy I looked at, I never thought of Kareem Hunt as a power back, but in Madden, he's clearly a power back. He's going to go over to the Minnesota Vikings with our new owner, Bill. Jamal Williams is still out there. Jordan Brooks, another guy going over to Minnesota. They were writing a lot of checks. Jerome Baker, middle linebacker, going over to the Cincinnati Bengals. Isaiah Rodgers Sr., going over to the Washington Commanders. Garrett Boyles, left tackle, going over to the San Francisco 49ers. He was just bragging about him in chat, so I guess he really is excited about having him back. Cam Akers going over to I think he moved them to the LA Chargers, San Diego Chargers, I think is what they are now.
He moved them back to San Diego.
It's gonna be a tongue twister all season. I'm going to have a seizure trying to remember that.
We've been fighting to try to remember it.
Brandon Sheriff
we've been fighting to try to remember the LA.
I messed it up all the time, and now it's back. Yeah, it's going to be a brain twister. Brandon Sheriff is going back to the Minnesota Vikings. They really are trying to replenish that roster. Bradley Chubb going over to the Tennessee Titans. We'll cover 4 or 5 more here. Byron Jones, get it out. Byron Jones, cornerback, going over to the Las Vegas Raiders. C.J. Mosley going over to the L.A. Rams. We got Michael Pierce, defensive tackle, going over to the Chargers. Mr. Beckham, he's coming back to the L.A. Rams. Taylor Lewan, who shouldn't even be in the game, he's going over to the Commanders. And a guy whose name I'm not even going to try because you're way better at this stuff than I am, but Nwasu, I think is his last name, outside linebacker. He's going to play for your Atlanta Falcons. Overall, any surprises, anything big stick out to you about free agency?
The fact that the Rams went out and brought back Odell Beckham and Joe John kind of surprising to me. Why would you go pay 2 Asian people? That, in that sense, aren't the greatest.
Yep, it's a bit confusing, and but you know what? I think that's what Tim does. Tim likes to keep us on our toes and likes to, make us wonder, what is he doing over there? Let's just quickly look at a couple of things here before we open up. We are 10 minutes before starting the draft, so let's take a quick look. I was going to look at something else, but we're going to look at some mock drafts here. We're going to look at the latest mock draft, which has Mr. Stephen Billups, a left end, going over to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm trying to look. I got it a little bit small here, make it a little bit bigger there. Out of California, 6'6", 278 pounds. He's projected to be the number 1 pick over to the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you think the Minnesota Vikings are taking at 1?
It's hard to say. It's essentially a new ownership in there. You don't know if he's going to go try and get his own quarterback, if he's going to run with the quarterback they've got. It's so many unanswered questions when you're taking in a new owner.
Mr. Clyde Quaker, the first, what a name too, the first quarterback off the board. He is slated to go to the Denver Broncos, who are definitely in need of a quarterback. I was shocked if they did anything else. Then we get a team that is a bit of a head scratcher because of the deal that he randomly made with my team. That was not something I pursued. It just kind of popped up and it came together very quickly. But They have the New York Giants picking Cody Pickles, left outside linebacker out of Oklahoma. I don't see him doing that. I see him taking whatever that top quarterback is, and then with his second first-round pick, maybe going a defensive position. What do you think about the New York Giants and their strategy coming into this draft?
Yeah, I mean, if you go off what they're projecting them to take 2 left outside linebackers. I just don't see that happening. Obviously, Yannick, you traded, the franchise quarterback. You'd think he'd be going to try, as he didn't replace him in season, you'd assume that he's probably going to try and replace him in the draft. That would make me think that maybe Brian Schroeder here would be the pick, but it's one of those things that maybe Mr. Colin is buying into the low overall quarterback. He might wait till later on.
Yep, I definitely think that he is going to go quarterback. I mean, what other options do you have there? Shrentel Jenkins out of Miami going over to the Tennessee Titans to rebuild that offensive line. Bryce Charleston, who is one of the very quick rising superstars outside linebacker. They have him slated to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are an intriguing team, a team that when I first started Madden 24, I was like, wow, this would be a ton of fun to play with. Cap space, young players, playmakers at every position. What are you expecting from the Jaguars in this draft?
It's hard to say because Jacksonville, like you've mentioned, it's one of those teams that you would off the go, like, okay, this is going to be a competitive team, but for some reason, it's just not clicking down there. He's obviously got Trevor Lawrence, so he doesn't need to look at the quarterback position. Maybe think trying to get maybe some offensive linemen or maybe more offensive weapons would be the thought process there. But then again, I'm not inside the head of. I believe it's Duval.
Yeah, it is Duval. Then we have the Raiders taking supposedly the second quarterback. But if things play out the way that you and I think they play out, Broncos going quarterback, Giants going quarterback. Do the Raiders go quarterback here, or are they just kind of stuck?
It's going to be a very risky gamble because I believe if you look at the quarterback scenario, there's one other supposedly guaranteed first-round quarterback in Austin Henry. He could be the answer. I don't know if that's going to be the game plan. If he does go that quarterback, I definitely think Austin Henry would be the option. But then again, Austin Henry could be taken before any of them. Really, he's one of those types of quarterbacks.
Is it one of those drafts, though, especially if you're in the top 10, that you just have to, if you need a quarterback, you have to take the third guy on the board, or do you wait it out?
I think it's one of those, if you want to be competitive, you have to pull the trigger fast. Because you could, not take him thinking that he will maybe fall to second round because guys aren't needing quarterbacks, and then somebody that you don't think needs a quarterback takes him.
Yep, it is the position that I found myself in. I knew that at 16 there was no way I was getting a quarterback at all, and that one fell in my lap. It made me give up my entire draft basically, but I just had no other options there. Arizona Cardinals also going to be a quarterback needy team, but it has them taking defensive tackle Jalen Simmons, right tackle Cameron Doers going over to the New England Patriots. Wide receiver Lamar Gordon going over to the Tennessee Titans. That would be an interesting one. And right end Joe Richardson going over to the Baltimore Ravens and Mr. Nipples. Who's the team that intrigues you the most? We're 5 minutes out before we get this thing rocking and rolling. Who's the one team that intrigues you the most out of this?
I have to, just because it's in my division and they have number one pick, it's got to be the Vikings. New owner, it's going to be interesting to see how he builds this roster. For the last 2 Madden cycles, the Vikings have really been the bottom feeder of the NFC North. So, yeah. With the new owner, maybe sticking around for longer than the trend has been. It'll be interesting to see how he molds holds this disturbed Vikings roster.
Yeah, because he does have a quarterback. He does have Jefferson still. So he definitely has some pieces. I'm going to be really interested to see where this all comes together. Last thing to get your thoughts on, and then we should be ready for the draft, is we are 4 minutes out and counting. What do we think about, we touched about it a little bit, but the Los Angeles Chargers going back to San Diego and the Chicago Bears moving to Omaha to become the Omaha Dragons?
Yeah, it's nice to see that San Diego is back in the league. And I swear, if Tua Tagovailoa isn't saying Omaha every time he calls an audible, I'm going to be upset.
There's also rumors that the Tennessee Titans might be going back to Houston to rock the Oiler jerseys. It would be sweet to see those Oiler jerseys back, but I don't know how I feel about Tennessee, two teams in Houston. Like, I don't know. It'd be a very, very interesting thing to see how that all played out exactly. All right, Trey, it is time for the draft. Give me your prediction. Who is the number one pick off this board?
If I had to make a pick just off of randomness, I'm probably going to say the best bet would probably be Cameron Doris, right tackle from West Virginia. I feel like you need, with the pass rush that is inside the NFC North, you need to stack up on the O-line, and having him either play at tackle or move inside to play guard or center would be a very valuable asset to the Vikings.
But if you're going to take a tackle, wouldn't you trade out of that number one pick? Get a load for it, move down to 4 or 5, take the best tackle off the board, even the second best tackle, and now gather a bunch of assets?
You would think, but then you would flash back to the Miami Dolphins with Jake Long and the Chiefs with Eric Fisher. Both had very lengthy careers. Jake Long obviously did a lot more than Eric Fisher did. But those guys both were at number one overall. You got to question if that's in the mindset of the Vikings there.
Kevin in chat says there are already 2 teams in Los Angeles. True, but Los Angeles is not Houston. Houston is not big enough for 2 NFL teams. It would be interesting to see if that happens. All right, Trey, it is time. Let's get over here and let's get this draft started. 21 people in the stream. I appreciate you. I hope Big Hurt and them stream is going well as well. Make sure that you hit the like button. Only 5 likes. Guys, reach over there. Smash that like button. Help us out. Let's get this thing going. We're going to get started a little early here, because why not? So we're going to force this thing. I always get nervous right here. This is where I get the sweaty palms, because that hit the force advance button always makes me nervous that something's going to glitch out. We're going to sim a draft, which has definitely been done around here for sure. Let's start the NFL draft. Everybody, good luck tonight. Trey, let's have some fun, bud.
I look forward to it.
And the draft is underway. Let's bring up our new little overlay that we got going here. Hopefully everything looks good and is working the way it's supposed to be. Let's bring this up and see what happens. Hopefully things don't freak out on me. He said it would take him 3 seconds.
Oh, wow. That didn't take long.
Jeff Little, a cornerback. Not what I expected to see.
Yeah, it's fitting, though. If you look in the division, you've got Christian Watson, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you've got DJ Moore. Those are 3 elite wide receivers. You got to cover them somehow.
Yeah, cornerback out of Texas Tech. Hopefully he's got the speed and the athleticism. This is the thing about doing drafts the way that we do them now. I used to have a draft board that was put together by the board. We all helped each other. There's your first quarterback, Clyde Quaker, quarterback. He's going over to the Denver Broncos. Do you like this kid? Do you think this kid is the next franchise quarterback that we see here in the OMFL?
And with the recent trend of quarterbacks in the OMFL, you would think that this guy is a top prospect, but it's also one of those positions that you could be a complete bust in.
Another cornerback, Trey, going over to the New York Giants. It looks like they actually had their eyes on the guy who went number 1. So the Giants don't go quarterback with their number 1 pick. He's saving that one.
Whoa, that's surprising that he didn't go QB there.
Yeah, you're taking a chance here, but good for the Raiders, the Cardinals, maybe the Patriots. Bryce Charleston, the big-time outside linebacker, I think that was actually the right call. No, I forget exactly who the mock draft had. I think he maybe had him going to Tennessee.
I believe that was the call.
Was it? Okay. So Bryce Charleston
going
over to the Jacksonville Jaguars to help build up already a speedy defense with Mr. Allen over there.
Yeah.
There's our second quarterback. So good thing for the Raiders. Giants passed up on them, and now the Cardinals have an opportunity for the third one here. And Brian Sherrod, he's the quarterback going over to the Las Vegas Raiders. So two buddies both find their quarterbacks that they really, really wanted, and they're trying to build up and get their franchise guy to help those offenses, man. This is rocking and rolling.
And
Austin Henry. There's your top three guys. Those are really the top three guys that you'd hope to get. That's why I went ahead and made the deal that I had to make, because there's no way I could move up that far, even though I tried my tail off. But Austin Henry going over to the Cardinals. Now, if you're the Giants, what are you doing? Is this a free agency? Are you going to go get Prescott? Are you going to go get Murray?
Kyler Murray?
Yeah, what do you do if you're the New York Giants? Because I don't see there being another quarterback worthy of being picked here in the first round.
Yeah, that's definitely not a first-round pick.
First receiver off the board, Damon Justice, big wide receiver out of Kentucky. He's going over to Lost Sniper, who is invested heavily into some veterans and now looking to sprinkle in a couple athletic rookies that he can build off of.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. You got Michael Evans to learn underneath. That could be very promising, Justice.
Two high picks here for the Tennessee Titans. They take Ricky Barber out of Ohio State, left outside linebacker. This kid not only has a receding hairline, but he's also got the playmaking of a veteran. He's going to add to that Tennessee Titans defense that's really going to be the way that they try to win games, because he hasn't quite figured out the offensive game plan here, but gathered a bunch of picks after making a deal with Henry and the Rams.
Yeah, in a shocking trade in the season, the Rams went to acquire Henry. They got some picks from it. They did, Tennessee.
Trey, I don't know how possible it is, but if you could look at the Not at Draft thread and just let me know when we can skip people. I know the Commanders I think might have been the only one, but I'm sure as we continue on here, people continue to drop out. Baltimore Ravens up here at pick number 10. The Ravens are one of those teams that you and I talk about all the time as a team of potential, but we always have to go back to the engagement of their owner. When he's engaged and enthusiastic and plugged in, he is one of the most unstoppable players, but we have not seen that in many, many seasons, and so we have to go by our eye test. What needs to happen here for the Baltimore Ravens with this pick to build up a team that he can maybe compete with?
I think, the offensive line was what I was going to say, and they went and got them.
Yeah, one of the best left tackles. He was slated to go much higher than this, but he's going to the Baltimore Ravens here out of Miami and try to hold down that left side. And with the pass rush issues that we've had this Madden, a rookie can really step in and be a dominant player from day one.
For sure.
Philadelphia Eagles, their first pick here in round one, a team that showed some flashes, definitely had their moments last season, but just struggled with putting together consistency. And I think it really started with the quarterback play. I don't think he's happy with the quarterback, but it's too late to go quarterback now. What do you see the Eagles trying to do here?
You would look to hope that they would try and get another cornerback, given Darius Slay and James Bradbury are both rather old. You hope you get somebody that you can develop in time for when they eventually either leave or retire.
Or maybe D-line. Cox, I know, aged and ended up getting moved over to Buffalo, so maybe he needs a little D-line help there. I know that he had the player Carter, I think. No, you think he's fine?
They got Carter and the guy last year. I can't remember. Jordan Davis? They've got two solid defensive tackles there, and is something you can easily just develop with time, especially when you got two forces in the middle.
He goes John Romero, right tackle out of North Carolina State. So we're seeing a heavy investment high in this draft, Trey, in offensive linemen. That is pretty different than most other drafts.
Yeah, I think the knowledge that, offensive line does play a little bit of a factor in the pass rush this year. A lot of people are trying to protect themselves as best they can.
Guys, we have 21 here. Thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you. Do me a favor, reach over there and hit that thumbs up button. Give us a like. Helps us out a ton. Makes me know that you watched, you were here, and I appreciate it. We got the Red Dragons. They're up first. I'm never going to remember to call them the Red Dragons. They're always just going to be the Omaha Dragons. That's what it says right there on the screen. It says Red Dragons. So
I always just see those dragons. That's great.
I know. A team that feels like they not only moved the team, but he put the spatula under that team and flipped them completely upside down. It felt like his answer to a tough season was, let's just throw it all out, start over, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he had the benefit of having the Panthers pick, which I believe this is that pick. And then he just threw away Justin Fields and let Cole Kmet walk. There was two very interesting things into this offense.
He's known for defense, but I know he struggled on offense. Too late to go quarterback here. Would not surprise me. Receiver, offensive line, or linebacker. Those are kind of what the gut is saying, because I know how much he likes to invest in that defense.
I'm thinking a fast corner.
We'll see. We got the top two off the board. When you start reaching for those number 3 and 4 guys this high in the draft, it feels like you've messed up. Kenny Cooper, defensive tackle out of Texas. So going defensive line, trying to beef up that center there. And now we've got, still says Los Angeles Chargers. So I assume he has not moved them unless that is a glitch.
I think it might be something due to the fact that he's still the Chargers.
Yeah, maybe so. But from what we understand, they will be the San Diego Chargers. We'll find out if that's even possible. Because I don't even know if that's possible, to be honest. Can you move?
It is a possibility.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Maybe he's going to do that after this draft. Or maybe he already did it and it's just glitching out because he's still the Chargers. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. We got 2 more likes. Appreciate it. Guys, reach over there. Hit that like button. I appreciate you. Chargers and Pepper. Frustrating season for him. He was frustrated really from the get-go, frustrated with the pass rush, frustrated that his team didn't play out, but a team that is still at its core very, very talented. He lost Eckler. Does he go running back here? Running back's not usually a position we see guys invest in early in drafts, or do you see another position happening?
I think he's going to go try and replace Khalil Mack, try and get some extra pass rush for Joey Bosa.
It wouldn't even surprise me if I think he was moving to a 3-4, if he went outside linebacker here, defensive end. And I think you can pick up a running back later in this draft and be just fine. The energy tonight in the chat, it was popping, and now it's kind of died down just a little bit here. It looks like the energy that we see at this draft show is people just stand there and stare. No one cheers, no one moves, no one's got to take a piss, no one's eating popcorn, no one's drinking a beer, a seltzer. No, we're just standing there staring at the board.
You're not going to make the pick in time.
In this endless smoke. Jalen Simmons, defensive tackle. We're seeing a run on defensive tackle, and that's surprising to me because, well, defensive tackles just weren't that dominant in this Madden. What do you think is the reason for the run on defensive tackles here?
I think a lot of people who saw a lot of inside runs being a dominant aspect last season, and I think they're trying to prevent as much of that as they possibly can.
Mr. Cody Pickles, this guy has the best name in the entire draft. He's going over to the Houston Texans, left outside linebacker out of Oklahoma, as Roger continues to build a very dominant defensive team over there. That's what Roger does, and I feel like he found something with his quarterback at the end of the season. We should see the Roger that you and I talk about all the time starting out in season 107.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see Roger check fully in and see how he progresses.
Dwayne Little, look how old that man looks. Wide receiver at Appalachian State. He looks angry and ready to go. He's going to the Cardinals. Damian Wayne, a middle linebacker out of Minnesota. He's going to the Giants. Trey, they have to be going after one of these quarterbacks in free agency, or who the hell's going to throw the ball to anybody in New York? Somebody get Daniel Jones on the line.
Question. That is a very good question. I'm going to go look into this.
Mr. Bill at his first in OMFL draft. He's taken Stephen Billups, a left end out of California. He's got some stud ends over there. I think he might have let one go. I'm not 100% sure. But Mr. Stephen Billups, he's going to go over there and try to add to that pass rushing.
The Giants don't have a quarterback on the roster.
I don't know what he's doing. He clearly has a plan. Colin is too smart to not have a plan, but I don't know what that plan is. He's running Wildcat all season. Green Bay Packers are up, and then you.
Good do it.
Yeah. You're up next, so we'll give you some time to look. Maurice Hillhouse, out of free safety out of California, is going to go over to the Green Bay Packers. I was surprised that Priest didn't go after Adrian Amos. He had such a great season last year. Used to be a Packer. I know Priest likes that size, that speed, that athleticism in his backfield. He also really likes to spend money, and I'm just surprised that didn't happen at all. But Maurice Hillhouse, he's going to go over there and try to help the Green Bay Packers defense. We'll see how that works out for him. Deontay Scott, a cornerback out of NA, so evidently he didn't like his school. He's going over to your Detroit Lions.
Yeah. I went last season. My corner core was atrocious. So I made a priority that the first round pick was going to pick who I felt was the best corner that available at the time.
So cornerback, the hot commodity here early in OMFL Draft 107. Stephen Porter, left tackle out of San Diego State. So we've seen a run on cornerback. We've seen a run on defensive tackle. And now we've seen a run on offensive linemen. They're all running on all of these different positions. I think we're going to see receiver fall. We're going to see running back fall. There's going to be some good linebackers that are going to fall. It's an interesting draft, as we always have.
Yeah, it's always nice to see, a little bit of shock and awe.
Sorry, trying to answer a phone call text real quick. Make sure everything is good. Miami Dolphins, San Francisco 49ers. Can't believe he has all these picks. He won the Super Bowl. He's got picked 22, 24, and probably a couple of others, I'm pretty sure. Miami Dolphins, another team that definitely has their franchise quarterback. He's probably going to win a ton of awards. We haven't processed those just yet. That'll happen tomorrow. He has the playmakers, going to be aging at a couple of positions. What do you see them doing here?
It's hard to say. Moss is one of those weird cats when it comes to drafting.
Yeah, he'll pull a wild card on you, and you don't see it coming. Left outside linebacker Brian Hoffman out of Clemson. He's going to go over to the Miami Dolphins and try to build up some speed and athleticism. Linebacker in this draft was this really weird position where you just didn't have the all-around superstar stud linebacker, and I think that's why we see these guys kind of going later here in the first round. 49ers, you talk about wild card. These next couple picks are going to be complete wild cards for us. I have no clue what direction he's going or what he's thinking, but it feels like it's all lanyap to him.
Yeah, he's going to find some fast players and he's going to make them. That's just what he does.
Colin said in the chat, we'll figure it out. I have no doubt, Colin, that you're going to figure it out, but it's going to be fun to see how you figure it out. Glenn Black, a right tackle out of West Virginia, going to go over there and help. I know he's got the aging tackles over there in San Francisco, but they're superstars. I don't know how much longer they have. Sorry, I'm still battling this bronchitis after the flu, but it looks like he's trying to put a little youth there in the offensive line. Felix Averill, middle linebacker out of Michigan. He's going over to the Seattle Seahawks, another team that really made some moves. A lot of people, he caught a lot of buzz, getting a lot of excitement behind that team. And then it's like D-Money woke up and said, nay, this will not be. And went ahead and just kind of humbled the Seattle Seahawks a little bit. They're the team I'm really watching, especially in that division, to see what they come out and do. John, if you go to view your draft board, you can go to drafted and see them there. So San Francisco with their second pick here in the first round, pick number 24. And then we have the Condors back to the Broncos, the Bills with their first round pick, Dallas with his second first round pick, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as we come to a close here in round one. Yeah, it looks like Colin has made up his mind that there are no quarterbacks he's taken until much later in this draft, because he said the next guy on his draft board was a left tackle that the San Francisco 49ers had taken with their pick. So we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, it's...
What a name. Jerry Maguire, cornerback. He's going over to the San Francisco 49ers. And Kevin sort of called that when he said, hey, he needs about 100 more superstar cornerbacks. And he might have found one there in Mr. Jerry Maguire as he adds to that defensive backfield. Now we've got Mr. Reluctant Pancake out of the Condors. He's up next, a team that, again, was super dominant. Came firing out of the gates. People thought he was going to be unstoppable. And then the quarterback injury happened. He lost some momentum, and then he ran into some just buzzsaws in the playoffs and lost a tough game.
Yeah, you know, he was going high with Richardson and Taylor, and as soon as he lost Richardson, it just kind of stalled his momentum.
I would see them going defense here. I think that defensive line got so much great pressure. We'll see if they can do that in a second season. I could see him going defensive backfield, safety, cornerback, something like that. That would not surprise me.
Yeah,
I could also see him going receiver.
I definitely think that Pittman leaving is going to be a cause for a receiver to go here.
Yeah, that I agree with you. I was going to holler, show me the money, but my wife would absolutely kill me. Devontae Gilmore, he out of Boston State, left out of Boston State, Boise State. We'll get it out. He's going over to the Condors. I didn't expect him to do that. He had such a great year with his defensive line last year. Skill positions are falling in this draft, and so they may fall into the second round with some really good players.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Denver Broncos up next with his second pick here in the first round. He got his quarterback. Now he's going to have to add to some of these other really important skill positions. Would not surprise me to see him go defensive line here, linebacker, safety. Maybe we see a wide receiver. I don't know. I kind of hesitate on the wide receiver. I would lean towards defensive line or safety. That's kind of where my mind goes for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he got his tight end Noah Fant back to Denver. He's got the trio of receivers. Maybe a running back here. I thought running back too, but we don't normally see them invest in running back, right? Yeah, defensive tackle. Tracy Wilcox out of Georgia. We know how those Georgia defensive line do here in the OMFL. They always play super well, and so we're seeing him go over there to the Denver Broncos. Yeah,
Buffalo Bills.
Denver's loading up.
Go ahead.
The Denver's been loading up on players. They're looking to make a run in season 107.
Buffalo Bills and Bill takes Henry. It went right off, but a defensive tackle. He's investing in that defensive line. Another offensive lineman, Cameron Doris out of West Virginia. If I got my memory right, that's the second offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys.
It is. Must be worried about Justin Fields' safety.
Yeah, he's trying to keep that guy upright.
Yeah.
Probably also, it's got to be a salary cap situation, an aging situation. I know I, too, am kind of faced with some of this older offensive line. What do you do? How do you replace some of these guys? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another team that lost Mike Evans. Replaced him, though, with Gallup. So he added a little bit more speed there, a little bit less of age, so a little bit of youth. But a team that just clicked on all cylinders, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league, and a team that was red hot and just had a hard, tight, close game against the San Francisco 49ers. And I think a lot of that is just he lacks confidence. He just thinks he can't compete with those top dogs, and I think he can. And we're probably going to see a really important player here added to that offense.
Yeah, I feel that this could be where a tight end potentially finally comes off the board.
Offensive lineman wouldn't super surprise me. Maybe our first running back. I know he's got some age back there at running back. I don't think so, but it wouldn't totally surprise me. We're getting to that place where you start to see running backs come off the board. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got the New York Jets, back to the Green Bay Packers, Vikings, and Giants as we move then into the second round. You called it. Justin Rhett, tight end out of USF. He's going over to help Kevin in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Big size, lots of speed. It's going to be another playmaker there for them to play with. And Ryder just makes all the right plays, all the right calls. And this is just going to be another tool in his toolkit. Guys, do me a favor, reach over there, hit that like button. We haven't had likes in quite some time. We got double the amount of people here than we do likes. Help us out a ton. Our guy Sinziberg and the Pittsburgh Steelers, a roster that still has a ton of needs, even though they made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. There are needs abound for this team. He did so much with a low roster. I think there's almost nothing off the table. He could go almost any direction except for quarterback.
I think there's two things off the table: quarterback and running back.
Yeah. It would not surprise me, offensive line. We've seen a run on offensive line. And as I say that, left tackle Marquise Henson out of Oregon State is going to go over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's where you needed the biggest investment. But when you're at pick 30, you start to pick from the scraps. And that's always my worry. When you're late in the draft and you have such a big need, you're picking the fifth, sixth best player at that position, and there's probably better players at other positions. Corey Plock out of right outside linebacker out of NA, and this is the draft glitch. He's going over to Mr. Kobe in the New York Jets as they continue to build an athletic freak team over there. I think he's salty as hell that he lost that bowl game, and he's looking to get right back.
Oh, 100%. I know Kobe's competitive mindset, and he is 100% annoyed, frustrated, and disappointed in himself that he lost. He's going to be a problem when it comes back around this year.
Yep, it will be very fun season to see how this one plays out. Green Bay Packers got his second pick as he closes out the first round. A pretty decent. What time is it? Let's pop over here. We're about 25 minutes, so not too bad. We're going pretty well. Kevin Blackwell, right tackle out of UCF. Trey, I had no clue that we would see this kind of run on tackles. If you needed a tackle, you're out of luck because now you're picking literally the 8th or 9th best player at this position. Like, you're picking guys with 5th, 6th, 7th round draft picks, undraftable draft pick grades on them because there's just nothing else out there at the tackle position.
Yeah. Side note, I just took a little gander at our our OMFL Season 107 schedule, and just saw there is a humongous Week 1 matchup.
What do we have?
We've got the AFC Championship rematch.
Nice.
We have Pittsburgh and the Jets on Week 1.
That will be a fun one.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch for sure.
New York Giants here. Geez, I got the Jets on the mind. Back-to-back picks here. Trent Arrington, defensive tackle out of Missouri, and now his third pick here in the second round. Then we've got the Rams, the Jags, the Ravens, the Texans, and the Browns with what I think is going to be their very first pick here in the OMFL Season 106 draft. Guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. We also have the other draft show that's happening over on Twitch with Big Hurt and his crew. And so we've got two different draft shows, two different perspectives. Pull them both up, flop back and forth. Give us both likes. Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody, for all of your help. We still need some more likes down there, so make sure to go back there and hit that button. Jerry Madison, left outside linebacker out of Florida. He's going over to the Giants, and we've seen them invest into that defense pretty heavy here with a lot of these early picks that he's had.
Yeah, the fact that he is still sitting on the quarterback it's got me puzzled.
Yeah, he has made up his mind that is what he's going to do, and that is his plan. So I can't wait to see how this one plays out. Rams, I feel like they're our new outlaw from the sense of you're not quite sure what he's doing with that roster. He could use a lot of different positions here because he's aging. What do you see the Rams doing?
I would have thought quarterback was a thing, but he's obviously brought Jared Goff back in, so maybe trying to find some more offensive line protection? I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me safety. I could see a run on safety here. He could definitely use some athleticism at that safety position. I feel like all the top cornerbacks are gone. You're picking early in the second round. I don't know that you reach here for a cornerback, but maybe you can reach for a safety. Maybe there's a good position there. Defensive line feels like it's starting to get picked clean. Offensive line's gone unless you're picking like center, guard type of situation. And as I say that, Max Hearns, the center out of Vanderbilt, I think is our first center off the board. He's going over to the Los Angeles Rams to help him.
Another offensive lineman.
Man. They're going on a run here. What we're not seeing is receiver. We haven't seen our first running back. We've only seen a couple of receivers. I think we've only seen one tight end. So those super important skill positions that you usually see go high in drafts, there's almost been no run on those positions. And there's going to be a second run on quarterbacks too. Somebody's going to take the bite probably here in the second round. Would not surprise me. If someone takes a quarterback in the second round, you may see another small run, 3 in the next 10 or something like that. I do think that next run will come in the third round, though. But sooner or later, we're going to see a run on halfbacks, we're going to see a run on receivers, and we're going to see a run on safety. Those are the three positions that I think we haven't seen that run on. But if you needed a tackle, man, I don't envy the Jags in that position because this guy's got to be the 8th best player at his position, and you have to take him early with your second round pick.
Yeah, it's kind of a shock factor this draft is the amount of offensive linemen.
Offensive linemen, this cycle so far feel like one of the easier positions to manage, just from the perspective of we're not seeing a lot of pressure from the 4 down linemen, 3 down linemen, the base kind of pressure packages. The pressure is really coming from blitz packages. And so to see this run, I think it's more of a tale of salary cap and age. It is the easiest position to replace a big hunky salary contract with a rookie guy that you can get the same production value but save a ton of money on. Ron Street, what a great name, out of Oklahoma. He's going over to the Baltimore Ravens as they continue to add to that defensive line there and try to add some youth.
Yeah, both are known to have stellar defenses. This is essentially living to the philosophy.
The tackle that the Titans took, I think that's the Titans. I'm not 100% sure. I'm starting to doubt myself now. He said he's hidden dev. I don't know if people are posting photos. There is a chat for draft photos. I would love it if you all just put your photos in that chat. It's a cool history that we can look back on. It's a cool way to look back on what picks were picked where. It's a really cool chat for you just to post your photos, not to have a lot of conversation, but just post your photos. So make sure to go look for that.
The main chat.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor, guys. Go post them in that chat. That's why that chat's there. It's a great place to keep it. In the main chat, it's going to get lost. It's going to get lost in the sauce. And so in that chat, if we keep it clean and not a lot of conversation, then we'll have a really cool chat. There's this second run of quarterbacks starting here. What a name. Van Zyl Dristic out of West Virginia. He's going over to the Cleveland Browns, who built up a quarterback that it looked like he was going for. So I don't know if he just got this guy for depth or if he's looking to see if he could get kind of a steal in this draft.
Yeah, I think I know that quarterback.
Duke Evans, wide receiver out of Michigan State, only the third wide receiver. He's going over to Tennessee Titans.
That's the quarterback that I found. Yeah, he was projected to be undrafted. That's a nice little snag for nice little snag there for the Browns.
So again, guys, there's a chat in Discord that is just for draft day photos. Go post your photos in there. Again, that will be a nice history. It's going to get lost in the normal chat. We'll never see it again. It'll be hard to find. Whereas if you put it there, it'll be easy to find and be a really cool history for this whole Madden cycle. And as you decide that you're done with this draft, just post in the not at draft and we'll know that we can skip you. I think right now we only have the Washington Commanders. Sean Patchett out of Miami, he's going over to the Las Vegas Raiders. What does that team need to do, Trey, in your opinion, to really turn things around and compete there in the AFC? Here's our second run on quarterbacks. I called it too.
I don't think you have to do much. I think you just there was that issue at quarterback, and he went and addressed it early.
Yeah, he got his guy. Nick Samuels is going to be the second quarterback taken here in the second round. I think we're going to see one more run on quarterbacks, and then it's pretty much going to be dead till late in the draft. I'm surprised we're not seeing that run on receiver just yet. It won't surprise me if it happens soon. Guys just can't help themselves, right? Those athletic, fast, speedy wide receivers, even if there's a plethora of them, you just get the itch of like, how many rounds can I let this go? How many times can I pass up and still get a guy that I really want? I feel like that's really going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah. One would assume that'll be coming up here pretty quickly.
Let me see if I can pull it up without making my computer completely crap itself. It is called... I guess it is the snapshots. So yeah, throw it in the snapshots. That way it'll stay in there with everything else. And that'd be a fun little way to kind of stay on top of everything. So yeah, throw it in the snapshots. Even though those are the snapshots from everything, it's still a really neat place that we can kind of keep everything. Trey, I just now seen your message. There is, but I don't recall it. I gotta go read these rules just like everybody else. Or maybe there's not. Maybe we removed it. I would. My gut says there is, but I would have to go look like everybody else. So it's in the FPR under that's that fourth level that trades off season, whatever that thread says.
Okay.
But it also sounds like it's too late. Cam Taylor, left guard out of Georgia, he's going to go over to the Carolina Panthers, another team I'm intrigued by. Bryce Young's had a year under his belt. He's been able to develop. He does have some pieces at receiver. I'm surprised he hasn't taken more receivers. Won't surprise me if he goes on a bit of a run, but he does need to invest in that offensive line, and he's doing it here with Cam Taylor out of Georgia.
Yes. Okay, I was right.
Guys, thanks for hanging out with us here tonight for OMFL Draft number 107. Make sure you hit the like button. Helps us out a ton. We've got 2 shows going for you. So Big Hurt and his crew, I think it's Big Hurt, Maniac, and maybe Cincyberg. They're doing a show over on Twitch where we're going to do a simulcast, but 5 of us in a room feels like it would be too much. And though it's slow right now in the 4th round, we'll start taking in calls. We'll do more interviews. Be a lot of stuff that we can talk about. And since I'm not sitting here having to manage a whole lot because I don't pick till the 5th round, we're having some opportunities to just talk through these. Our first halfback right off the board. He's going over to the Arizona Cardinals. And now another run on quarterbacks. I'm not trying to.
That's Mike Trout's brother.
I'm not patting myself on the back here, but I will say I did call there was going to be a second run once somebody made that jump. Browns broke the dam there, and now we're seeing a run on quarterbacks. But our first halfback off the board going to the Arizona Cardinals, that's a good pick for them. They got their quarterback in that very first pick in the first round because he had one fall to him. Now he's got his running back. He's starting to put the pieces together to build an offense that was already putting up in some games 40 points.
Yeah, it was. He had the offense, just didn't have the defense to seal it off for him.
Andrew Sellers, defensive tackle out of LSU, going to go help our guy Denbrew over there in Cincinnati. Yes, Denver's in Cincinnati. I get them flip-flopped in my head all the time. So, again, we're seeing more defensive tackle, more beef being put right there in that defensive line. And why does it not surprise me that our guy Priest went halfback here? He can't help himself. He loves his halfbacks, man. He likes to pile them up. I think he had 8 of them, it felt like, last Madden. And he sees the run. The first halfback comes off the board. He goes and gets the next guy, Tremont Hall, Oklahoma State. He's going over to Green Bay. I'm not 100% sure who Green Bay has over there at the halfback position, but I know Trey, once he gets his eyes on a halfback, he's going to use that guy to the best of his ability. Reggie Conley, tell us a little bit about your thought process going after wide receiver. I think that you were smiling the more you seen the wide receivers drop.
Yeah, I was looking for a guy because I have a lot of smaller, faster receivers. I was looking for a guy that can go and get them. And the fact that I now have a 6'6" target to throw to, I just sell it.
Priest said he drafted a hidden dev halfback, so Green Bay Packers adding to that backfield and doing what Priest likes to do. He likes to have those halfbacks as Cincinnati Bengals are back on the clock. I think the dam may have broke for wide receivers. We may start to see a run on wide receivers. I'm still shocked, blown away by how many tackles we're seeing come off the board here. Tons and tons of tackles coming off the board, even here mid-second round.
Yeah, it's the offensive line are a key feature. Luckily, I was one of those people that had an offensive line that didn't need upgrades.
Mike Burks, he's going over to the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, we've got the Miami Dolphins. They're up. The Kansas City Chiefs with possibly their first pick. Maybe they've had another one. Seattle Seahawks, Bengals again. So Bengals really piling up those second-round picks. Ravens, Dolphins, Giants. Lots of picks for the Dolphins. Lots of picks for the Bengals here, and lots of picks for the New York Giants. Corey Spears, outside linebacker out of Arkansas. He's going to go help Miami over there. What does Miami have to do in the AFC to kind of get beyond that sort of hot, cold streak that we've seen them go on this past season?
It's hard to say. A lot of that relies on Hitchens. Yes, he was like the league leader in everything, but that also includes interceptions.
Interceptions, yeah. It was one of the main reasons I couldn't vote for him. And I need to go back and look and we're going to announce the Pro Bowl tomorrow. I don't think he's even made the Pro Bowl. It's just because, like, we're talking 50 interceptions or something crazy like that. It was a crazy number.
45.
It was just a crazy number. It's like, yeah, lots of yards. Yeah, lots of touchdowns. But that's so crazy of a number. So we'll see if Miami, if he could get those numbers cut in half, just cut them in half. Keep him in the low 20s. You may win.
So 34 touchdowns, or 34 interceptions.
Yeah, cut that in half. Keep that in the low 20s. Keep that in the high teens. And I think you win 4 more games. And you're a real contender when it comes to the AFC, because we know Massimo can spread you out and play call and push you to your limits on your defensive side of the ball. Nick Monroe, middle linebacker out of Tennessee. We've seen a bit of a run on middle linebackers. They seem to be a hot commodity, even in the trades. Looked like a couple of guys in the draft had their eye on people, but then even in trades, it looked like people were looking for middle linebackers. It's a very interesting position depending on the play style. Joe Parker, a center out of Michigan State, he's going over to the Seattle Seahawks as, again, we see in that investment in offensive line.
Yeah, the O-line just keeps going and going and going.
I've been sitting in this chair for like 16 hours today, y'all. I had to stand up for a second and give the boys some breathing room. More offensive line. We get our third halfback off of the books here. A halfback out of Memphis, Zach Lake. He's going over to the Baltimore Ravens, who I think have been trying to deal a halfback since Madden 22. He's been trying to get rid of that guy and still can't find anybody to get rid of him. But he's looking to invest and get some more speed and athleticism back there. We got the New York Giants with their like 800th pick here. Cincinnati Bengals with their like 10th pick in the second round. Bucks, Steelers, Packers, 49ers. They're going right guard Nick Whitley out of Penn State. Now we're starting to see the interior offensive line get picked clean. And Trey, we're only in the second round. Like, we're at the very end here of the second round. If you needed an offensive line and you didn't invest early, yeah, sorry. You're going to be getting guys that need a lot of development here. And guys are the OMFL is speaking clearly. We're not going to spend money on offensive line. We're not doing it in free agency. We're going to let guys walk. We're going to trade guys away. Instead, we're going to go invest in the rookies.
A fullback. What?
Doesn't surprise me,
I
right?
know I was on the draft board.
The Bengals, Eli Moore out of Kansas State. The Bengals don't have a ton of needs. He feels pretty secure at a lot of positions. He's going to go fullback. He's trying to get that running game really established there in Cincinnati. It opens up the play action, opens up his other options that he has. We've seen them sort of start out pretty cold, but really get rolling there at the end of the season.
Another offensive lineman.
Another offensive lineman out of Notre Dame, the center, David Gibson. He's going over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And again, that investment continues there. And the Bucs understand, especially in the NFC South, you're going to be attacked with really good defensive linemen, especially good defensive tackles. You got a couple of guys that will user on you. The new third down rule, or not third down rule, but the new guest pass rule is probably going to open up some pass rush. And so they're investing in that offensive line, an offensive line that in the NFL, even that team, real life Bucs, are also investing in. And so we see that getting mirrored here in the OMFL. Don't
That
see
definitely seems to be the case.
the drafted players tab anymore. I don't know why. You should. I mean, I don't have any, but if you do view your board, it should just be drafted. All regions.
Yeah, no, they took it out.
Oh, there is no drafted. My bad. They took that out.
Defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle Josh Gam. You might be able to go to transactions. Unless
Nope.
they took this out. They
They
took
don't
that out
update
as
it.
well.
Yeah. They took out a lot of key features.
Nope. I guess.
Wait till the draft's over.
Yeah. Is it manage roster? Would you see him under manage roster? Like, would you see
They
them
don't
there?
appear till after draft.
That's stupid. Like, why would you not let people be able to see who they drafted? Yeah, that's weird, man.
Let's see.
That sounds like an EA situation if you've ever asked me. Guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. You're watching OMFL Draft Season 107. So we're at the last pick here in the second round. You're hanging out with Trey and I. I know we have our secondary show also happening. Not secondary show, second show happening on Twitch with Big Hurt and his crew. So you got a couple of different options. It's like ESPN versus NFL Network. Go flip between. Give us both some support. And we're getting through this pretty quickly. I mean, fairly quickly. We're only 46 minutes into this draft, and we're already through round 2. So I'd have to say we're keeping this thing on a steady pace. Feels like one of the biggest turnouts for a draft that we've had in a very long time. We only had one team who said they absolutely would not be here. Now, I know it's getting late for some people, and people will start to drop out here in the third and fourth rounds. In the fourth round, we'll start taking call-ins. The way that you have to do it is you just go into the Discord chat when we say we're taking call-ins. If you just see Trey and I there, it's open. Pop in there. Get muted. Trey will see you. He'll let us know somebody's in here. We'll unmute. We'll do an interview, and then you'll leave, and it'll be open for the next guy. So just come in and do some interviews with us. It's pretty open that way. Priest said he's getting hidden guys back and forth over here.
You got to wonder what... Yeah, wow. Tight end.
Well, Kittle's getting older, right? We did see him have a couple injuries in the playoffs. I know that contract can't be super easy. Somebody here will salivate at the name Kittle, and we'll probably trade for him just for the heck of it. So there's no telling what he's planning to do there, but it doesn't surprise me. He's got all these picks. You might as well invest in some positions that you know you're aging at. A halfback, Shamir Weaver out of Alabama. I've never seen somebody so excited about a backup halfback. So tell us what makes you so excited about a guy that is going to not get that many snaps.
Yeah, you may think that, but
listen, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to win awards. He's rookie of the year, all kinds of stuff. Like, he was a stud. There's no way you're sitting Jahmyr Gibbs to let this guy get some carries.
Yeah, there's Kobe half-back one, but we have 80-20 rule back in the place. He's definitely going to be the back that probably gets majority of that 20%. I love the Tavies ring. Old. You got old on me. This guy is almost there. So, yay. Hey, hitting this.
Well, we'll see how this works out for you. I feel like you're got bit by a little bit of that Priest syndrome there of too many halfbacks back there. Daniel Bayer, tight end. Now we're seeing a run on tight ends here. It looks like that shell has been cracked in the Tennessee Titans, or the Los Angeles. No, San Diego. Jeez, get it out, Nate. San Diego Chargers have taken the guy out of Tennessee. New York Giants now take Larry McCoy out of Notre Dame, the tight end. So we're seeing another big run on tight ends here. If you need a tight end, now's the time to get there. And as we see here in the OMFL, by the time you get to round 4, the draft's picked pretty clean. Now you're just taking long shots. Now you're taking guys that need development. Now you're finding the 1 or 2 players that maybe have an attribute that you feel like you can build up from. Now with these new Madden drafts, though we tweak them small a little bit, not a lot, you still have the potential of finding kind of that late round gem that you can turn into something.
Here's a kicker, Nate. Has there been a safety draft yet?
Say that again?
I don't think there has. Has there been a safety drafted yet?
No, I don't think we've seen a safety come off the board. Another right tackle.
There is some safeties that are on that. I'm surprised they're sitting here. It's almost like Brian Branch a little.
I absolutely agree. I think in the third round, we're going to see a really good safety go to a really good team. Paul Westbrook, right guard out of Texas A&M. So the Jaguars continue to invest in offensive line. Heavy investment from the OMFL, speaking loud and clear. The coaches have sent a very clear message. Offensive line is where we need to invest our money.
Yeah, that's been made very apparent.
Chad, I'd love to hear you guys tell us, who do you think is the next position that gets a run on it? And when does it happen? Does it happen here in the 3rd round? Is the next run going to happen in the 4th round? Where's the next position, and when is that next run going to take place? We're getting pretty close to taking in some call-ins. We're going to talk about your offseason. We're going to talk about your free agency. We're going to talk about your draft, how you're feeling about your team as we move into season 107. And we can also go take a look at a couple of schedules as we get to round 4 too. Sydney Melton, tight end out of Texas. So that tight end run is pretty hot and heavy right now. Do you feel like guys...
The fastest tight end in the draft.
Doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised he didn't go first. Do you feel like guys panic when they see these runs on positions that they're like, oh, I really wanted a tight end. Now the run's going. I better hurry up and move my draft board around. Do you think guys panic like that?
I think the lower echelon does, because they don't want the higher echelon in the league to get their pick away from them, because they know that the higher echelon in the league, you get that player out there and then get capital for it.
Yeah. Well, we're still seeing offensive line come off the board here. Cody Gillespie? I don't know. Center out of Utah.
75% of this draft has to have been offensive line, I swear.
It's got to be up there. Like, this is a very offensive lineman. And though we've seen a small run on wide receivers, tons of wide receivers, small run on halfbacks, tons of halfbacks, I think we've seen pretty much all the quarterbacks go until we get later in this draft. Safety, not even touched. I've never seen a position group go this late in a draft and not even get touched. I also feel like we put way too much emphasis on players being hidden dev. If they're not a good player, it doesn't matter what their dev is. They're not a good player. Sure, you're going to get XP quicker, but being a hidden dev does not equal great player automatically at all. Oftentimes, you can get a normal dev player that is a better player than a hidden dev player.
Nate, you hit me right on the head, because there is an OMFL Hall of Famer drafted in the round who will dev up as a superstar by the end of it.
Yeah.
Low dub line.
Yeah, it's just, I get the excitement. I think if you had to choose between normal dev and a hidden dev, of course you would choose hidden dev, but you have to take it, it's one piece of the full picture, and you have to take the full picture into account and really look at what are the baseline stats that you're building from? What does that player do really well? And how quickly can you get him to be either a specialist or a full-time player on your team? Jay McClellan. Why do I struggle? I'm so tired. Jay McClellan, left end at a USF. He's going over to the Baltimore Ravens. We've seen the Ravens here, Trey, go defensive line, offensive line. So I think like a lot of us, when we moved from 23 to 24, when we looked at imports, it felt like a lot of us were also thinking the two lines, that's where I need to invest. And the Ravens have definitely picked this back up of, I'm going to invest in my two lines.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the thought process in this draft.
Patrick Abraham, there's your first safety off the board. He's going over to Miami. And if anyone knows how to take a defensive player and really develop them and build them, it's going to be Roger. And I'm hoping that Roger's health allows him to continue to develop his team. He's invested pretty heavily in his defense. I feel he found a comfort and a confidence in his offense, and now he's investing into that defense.
I think, with him secretly sitting here quietly, muted, he's been listening. I think he knew we were talking about the safeties. He went and found himself one.
Grant Stanley, wide receiver out of Clemson. He's going over to the Buffalo Bills. Do you mean Roger was here?
Roger is currently sitting in the chat.
Well, Mr. Roger, you should have unmuted yourself, sir. I had no clue that you were even here. I know Kevin was in here earlier. We were going to bring him in.
He may have left. He may have left. Don't know this way.
Ooh. Tim says he has $43 million on his starting guards and center. all in the last year of their contracts. That's a tough one right there. Wide receiver. Outside of quarterback, easily the sexiest position in the OMFL to want to pick from. Why haven't we seen the run that we thought we'd see? It's just been some minor runs here.
There really wasn't too much outstanding talent at wide receiver, so that's where I think a lot of these receivers are dropping.
We've got the San Diego Chargers. I'm going to have to pause and think through that one for a while. Houston Texans, the Cardinals, the Broncos, 49ers, and Packers all coming up here. A lot more fullbacks have come off the board here in the third round. You made a comment about one a while ago. I was sure hoping to grab one later in this draft, but it feels like they're all going to be gone, and we're not even in the third round. That's a bit of a head scratcher. Guys investing early third round picks, which I feel like you get really good players, but they're investing them into fullbacks. What is that saying to you?
I'll leave that one out because we know how I feel about drafting fullbacks.
Yeah. Well, you got lucky and drafted a halfback that accidentally got listed as a fullback.
Because he's horrible at carrying. That's why you switched to fullback.
Nathan Robertson,
like
a center out of Boston College. He's going over to the Houston Texans. I really like what Houston has done, but I really, really like what the Cardinals have done. I think Joker's really invested into his team in all the right areas. Chuck Hayward, defensive tackle out of California. This guy just looks scary. He looks like a monster of a man that you do not want to meet in an alley, and he's going to help that Arizona Cardinals team really start to turn things around. I cannot wait to see. I think there are going to be some early bumps with a rookie quarterback. There usually always is. Very few owners can do what Trey and others do. Very few guys can do that. Most of the time there's bumps and bruises with a rookie quarterback, but we should see Arizona really turn things around here in season 107. Priest said he drafted a free safety in the first round. Maybe we just missed that one. Lamar Gordon, wide receiver out of TCU. He's going over to the Denver Broncos, who also have had a really good draft. They found their quarterback. They've now started to get some receivers and some skill positions. I think we've seen him invest in the offensive line, maybe a defensive end in there, if I recall correctly. So he's investing in these really important pieces. Last season was a bit of a wash for him. Didn't play up to par. He missed a couple of games because he was on his real life wedding honeymoon. And so that's all over. That stage of his life is over. And I think we're going to see a much more engaged Jay Glaze take over this Denver Broncos team and try to cause some waves in the AFC, which we've seen them do before. He's been to an OMFL bowl before.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos, I got the first-hand experience playing all of the AFC West last. He was by far the toughest competition I had that in last season.
Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's OMFL Draft night.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year when it comes to the OMFL.
Trayvon Hodge, defensive tackle out of Arizona State. I think I'm like sad because I've missed it. Like I had to make that deal. It was an offer I could not refuse. But I love drafting. It is my favorite thing. I go all in to get as many picks as I could, and you couldn't get any. No one was willing to give me any draft picks. I lie. The Bills were willing to give me some draft picks, but I would have had to give up my earliest pick, and I wasn't willing to do that. But outside of that, I couldn't get any. And so I'm really missing drafting guys. I love rookies. I love that new feel and like it's a new toy to play with on your team. And so I wish that I had those. Jamie Salas, another wide receiver out of San Diego State. Why the investment in wide receiver from the Lions?
I let all but 2 wide receivers go this offseason. I have to get wide receivers, and I had to get corners.
Priest is so excited that he's got more hidden guys. Like, I think it just makes Priest giddy that he gets a hidden dude. Can't answer my DMs though, huh? You can't do that. Priest doesn't know how to answer my messages, but love it. Unless I'm getting this, I maybe get my names mixed up. Maybe that isn't Priest. I think it's Priest. I don't know. Now I'm all confused. Enrique Watson, what a great name. A right guard out of Notre Dame. He's going to go over to the Miami Dolphins with back-to-back picks here. Miami investing in that offensive line pretty heavily. I know he had some aging contract guys, probably trying to just find some relief there, especially with these other big contracts that they have. But yeah, they're investing in these lines on both sides of the ball. Troy Bayless, left in out of Texas Tech, going over to Miami.
Man, it seems like a lot of people are fully on the commit train to this offensive and defensive line.
We're just a couple of picks away before we start taking some interviews. You just have to let Trey know. Who's in the chat now, Trey? Because I actually can't see it. Let me pull it up.
Currently in the chat with us is just Roger,
who we talked to but did not talk to us back. So maybe we'll get Mr. Roger to come back in just a little bit. So if you want to pop in there now, you want to be the first guy that we interview when we get to round 4, you can. Just be muted, pop into the chat. And if you only see, sorry guys, still recovering from bronchitis and the flu, but if you only see Trey, Roger, and myself, then that means there's an open line. Come pop in there. Just be muted, and Trey will see you. He'll let me know, and we'll tell you to unmute, and you will come hang out and do a quick interview with us. It'd be a ton of fun.
Well, I feel stupid now.
Why?
So remember how I mentioned week 1, Steelers and Jets? It turns out that's week 12. For some reason, it was loading in automatically at week 12.
Oh, that's fun.
So that's a week 12 matchup to look forward to.
Any good matchups in week 1 then?
We've got the Dragons and the Condors. It's an interesting matchup. Steelers and Ravens, Saints and Buccaneers.
Oh, that's not a fun way to start off my season.
Bengals, Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills, Commanders and 49ers. Those are some intriguing matchups for week 1.
Greg Mathis, free safety out of Ohio State. He's gone over to the Seattle Seahawks. So we're seeing a bit of a run on safety now.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him fall this far. If I had a need for safety, I probably would have picked him up, but I'm pretty good there.
Eric Johnston, middle linebacker out of UCF. He's going over to the Cincinnati Bengals to help out that defense. Trey, when you start getting here to the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, what round is it that the switch takes place? And you're like, all right, I'm not looking for a starter here. I'm looking for development. I'm looking for maybe a special player that I hit on, a player that has maybe a special skill set for my team. At what round does that switch start to happen for you?
Pretty much for me, it's off the get-go, but you tend to feel, if you're on the lower echelon, I think you're looking for your impact players, your first 3 picks, because that's where you're getting the cream of the crop, and then, rounds 4 through 7, you're looking to try and get, potential prospects.
Yeah, for me, it was always the first, excuse me, the first 3 rounds were super important. It's like, let's make sure that we hit on as many of these as we possibly can. Key positions that we maybe need to fill either this season or coming up. And then round 4, maybe late round 3, we can start to take some flyers. We can start to, what's that player that has that one skill that we can build off of? What's the one player that has that one skill that can come in and give us a pass rusher or a 3rd down man defense cornerback or a backup strong halfback. Like what's that one guy that has that skill that can come into your team and immediately be an asset? That starts to happen around 3 and 4. And by the time I get to 6 and 7, now we're just like, let's just shoot here. Let's take some flyers and see, do we hit? Do we just hit on a guy that plays really well for us? Maybe there's a hidden dev guy there that develops a little quicker than a normal 6 or 7, or maybe there's a guy there that just like plays better than his ratings, which I don't know if anyone else would agree with me, but I have found that sometimes you just find guys that play better than their ratings and you can't keep them off the field. I had that last Madden with my receiver who I really want to bring over as an import, who I think came close to Trey's touchdown, special teams touchdown record that he has. He just played.
That got broken this year.
Yeah, it probably would have got broken if we didn't change some things. But
I just think it did get broken.
Oh, I haven't looked, and maybe it did. I do have a document. I've been today. Work was crazy, and then we had the draft, so there's no time to unpack it. Tomorrow I'm off, and so it's going to be all about catching us up with the OMFL and getting things ready. Carl Emerson, a left guard out of Ohio State, he's going over to the Baltimore Ravens. Again, we've seen them invest really heavy in both of their lines here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been the common thread for this draft is build the offensive and defensive lines. I seem to be one of the few that are in the realm of you didn't need the offensive or defensive line. Build them and everything else.
Miami going all in on this draft, and it's hard to keep up with everyone, and so maybe others know a little bit better than I do, but already a very good team, but have collected a lot of assets here in the draft, and they're spending those assets to build the middle to bottom half of the roster, which I think is always the hardest part of your rosters to build, but where you can save the most money. You can either blow your contract, your salary cap on that middle to bottom half, or you can really save yourself on that middle to bottom half by investing in really good picks. As we see another fullback off the plate here, Eric Barnett out of Penn State. He's going over to the Arizona Cardinals, and we've seen a bigger run on fullbacks than we have wide receiver and safety.
That's the shock there.
Yeah, it's not anything I would have ever imagined. Steelers are up now. Go ahead.
That's got to be an OMFL first to have this many fullbacks drafted in the first 3 rounds.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our first interview here as we enter the last 2 picks of the 3rd round. So when we get to the Broncos, we're going to open it up. Trey, do we have anybody in there just yet?
Currently still just Roger.
All right, so the phone line is open. If you want to pop in there, just be muted. Pop in there. We'll do an interview. After that interview, I'm going to go grab some water, maybe a little bathroom break, and then we will bring on some more callers and have some fun. I think it's always fun when we get to the call-in mode and start to really pick away at how people were thinking about their team and how they feel about their team. Tight end going over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Raheem Bayless, a strong safety out of Virginia, going over to the New York Jets. As we've seen them invest into that defense, I'm surprised we didn't see a couple more playmakers on that offense. He lost Dalvin Cook, thought maybe he could go halfback here, but no, he's continuing to invest in that defense.
Yeah, Kobe obviously feels something. That defense was the reason he lost the OMFL Bowl. We'll see how he responds.
Kansas City Chiefs are going to wrap up round number 3, and this is always where the draft starts to bog down. I think we were 45 minutes into the first 2 rounds. We are now an hour 10, and we did get through round 3, so a pretty decent pace still going here, but this is where things start to bog down. Guys start to overthink it. Guys don't know where to go. Guys don't know what's left. They start eating up that whole clock. Again, Trey, I'm going to ask if you see anybody post in the Not It draft because they're done for the night. We can start skipping some people. But phone line is open. All you got to do is hop in there. A Discord chat, OMFL.
We do have our first guest.
Nice. Who is in here?
The man, the myth, the legend, Bird of the Arizona.
Mr.
No, Joker.
Joker.
My
I
bad.
was about to say, wait a second. Bird is supposed to be in the mountains with his wife. My goodness.
I got screwed up.
And now, if Joker is in the mountains with Bird's wife, then that's a whole nother story, a whole nother show. We're going to have to unpack that one completely different. Joker, welcome to the OMFL Draft. You're first here in the OMFL.
It is my first in the OMFL.
Well, man, tell me about the experience. You are completely rebuilding these Arizona Cardinals in your image. What was the concept as you moved into this offseason?
So the concept was I got rid of a bunch of people. You know, I did use my perks on getting rid of Kyler Murray first and foremost, and then picked up a couple of good guys in free agency, I believe. And then the draft was really around the quarterback. I was really hoping, because a couple people moved up like the Giants, that I was going to get my guy, and I got him. So we are good.
Were there any sweaty palms there as you started to see 3 or 4 quarterback-needy teams be in front of you?
Yeah, whenever the Giants traded with you, when y'all did that whole trade thing, I thought, oh, he's going to move up, and either he's going to pick somebody and then somebody's going to take Hunter before me, but I got lucky. So I got the guy that I've been wanting. Me and Roger talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Me and Roger, because Roger's always been the draft guru. So me and Roger had the conversation about the quarterbacks a couple of weeks ago. So
why was Hunter the guy for you? Why was he the guy to come in and take over the franchise?
So for me, I like the taller quarterback. So he was the taller of the better. You know, he was 6'6" of the top quarterbacks. I liked him because he's tall, and because he has, now that I know, he has 96 throwing power. So
that's a big arm.
That's a big arm. And I'm used to playing with Patrick Mahomes. So moving from Murray at the beginning of the season to Mayfield arm was a little better than Murray. So I got a little better. So I believe with a little bit better arm strength, I'll be able to make some of those throws that I wasn't able to make with Mayfield and Murray.
Quarterback's the easy position. We knew that you were unhappy with the quarterback position, but what were the other areas that you're like, we really have to make some changes here?
So I picked up a couple of wide receivers in free agency, but I really wanted Little, so I got him. I actually got my top 3 guys. The top 3 guys that I picked were all 3 guys that I set out to get in the top 3 picks, so I actually got really lucky and got all 3 of my guys with my first 3 picks. So
Trey, what do you got for Joker?
it was all about.
I'm looking at some of these free agent signings. You went and got Paris Campbell and John Ross. Is that?
I missed the last part of that, Trey.
You went and picked up Paris Campbell and John Ross, 2 well-known speedsters. Is that emphasizing a deep ball aspect to the game going into aspect?
Well, when you put those fast wide receivers out on the corners like that, people tend to play you on the deep ball where you can throw underneath and outrun them.
I see the same. And you also went out and grabbed Cole Kmet.
I'm used to having Kelsey, so I had to have somebody to put in that place.
Are you looking to kind of have your Tyree John Ross as John Ross? Cole Kmet be your Kelsey, and obviously your quarterback being Mahomes?
Kind of. I like John Ross. I have him in the deuce. You know, I'm the Chiefs in the deuce, and he carried over. He didn't retire, and we had the rosters before. So he's done real well for me in the deuce. I actually use him mostly as a third wide receiver and a punt and kick returner in the deuce. So I don't know how I'm going to use him yet in the OMFL. My plan is to actually have him run a little bit more of a spread offense and make people pick who you're going to cover.
Now you're in a very good NFC West. You have the defending champions coming out there. You have a Seattle Seahawks roster that's thriving, and you have Rams that are looking to rebuild off of their collapse last year.
So I beat the Rams both games last year. I beat Seattle both games last year. D-Money beat me both games, but it was really a really close game until he started picking me off, and that was what made the difference. Hopefully I can overcome that this year, and win the division.
So going in, do you feel confident saying that you feel like you're the division as of right now?
I feel I'm going to give it a run for its money.
Cool.
Joker, I want to know, what are your real expectations? What are things that we can expect? First, what's the game going to look like for you? Like when we see the Arizona Cardinals, what's the game style that we should expect to see? And then off of that, what are real record expectations?
Okay, so, in the OMFL, I think I won 7 games this year. I look for that to be closer to 10, 11, 12 possibly. I mean, like in the NBC where I play with my Chiefs, I only lost 2 games. In the Deuce this year, I only lost 3 games, I think. I'm in the playoffs. I only lost 3 games. So it was just rebuilding the Cardinals in my image. And now that I have a year under my belt, I've moved some players around, I really think that it's going to surprise a few people that the Cardinals are not going to be a under 500 team at all.
Take the quarterback all out of the picture. Quarterback's out of this conversation. What is your new favorite toy that you can't wait to hit the field with?
I think it's going to be either my new wide receiver or my wide receiver that I just drafted or my halfback that I just drafted. I have high hopes for both, actually.
Well, I can't wait to see you turn it around. It's going to make for a very fun division. If the Cardinals, well, I'm going to turn it over to you, but if the Cardinals are one of those teams competing, you got the Seahawks over there, you got the 49. Like, I feel bad for Tim. Y'all need to somebody throw Tim a bone over there because he's getting beat up by some monsters.
Well, the first time me and Tim played, he underestimated me. It was in the Deuce, and he didn't know me. And I beat him, and he kind of took that a little rough the first go round. But then he realized who I was. He realized I wasn't just a newbie to the news, that I had been playing Madden for a really long time.
Trey, wrap us up with Joker.
All right, Joker. I'm going to run you down your schedule for this season. You tell me how you feel.
Right.
Week 1, you're at the Jets. Week 2, you're at the Niners. Week 3, you host the Eagles. Week 4, you're at Omaha. Week 5, you're versus the Bills. Week 6, you're versus the Rams. Week 7, you're versus the Patriots. Week 8, you travel to Green Bay. Week 9, you play the Seattle Seahawks. Week 10, I'm walking into Arizona. You have a Week 11 bye, and you travel to Las Vegas, travel to the Rams, travel to Miami, Minnesota comes visiting into town. You head over to New Orleans, you head over to Seattle, and you finish the season at home versus the 49ers. How do you feel knowing that that's your schedule this year?
That's a tough schedule. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And some of the guys I haven't played yet, so I really don't know. Some of the guys I have, like I played Cincy to a tie this year. He was in the playoffs. I played him to a tie with the sorry-ass Cardinals. So I look at it as where I'm going to have 11, 12 wins.
Jets, Bills, Lions, Dolphins. That's what a run. Outside of an already tough division, that's a hell of a
rough.
sprinkling.
That's rough. Exactly, that's rough.
Well, Joker, thank you for spending some time with us, man. I can't wait to see you with this new quarterback. Last question for me. We talked about it a little bit when you drafted your guy. There are very few quarterback gurus that can just take any quarterback and play really well with them. I would give Trey his flowers and say that Trey is one of those people. Do you expect bump and bruises with a rookie quarterback, or do you think he'll just come right out of the gate?
There's always going to be bumps and bruises, but you have to remember, I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, so I played with a lot of sorry quarterbacks over the year. And I will be the first to tell you my favorite quarterback over the years. I would bench everybody. Everybody would always go, "Why are you doing that?" And I played with Bray, and because he had a big arm, he had a big arm, and he was tall, and if I can play with him, I'm pretty sure I can play with just about anybody. Plus, I had Matt Castle and Brody Crowell, and I mean, you have to think of all the sorry quarterbacks that I had played with over the years.
Yeah, I would always try to trade for Bray. He was always a fun quarterback.
Yeah, I love Bray, and again, I liked Bray because he was tall and because he had a cannon of an arm. So I would actually play him over. I think at the time that we had just gotten Alex Smith, and we still had Bray, so I would play Bray over Alex.
I got one last thing for you, because this is the perfect crossover segue. What do you have to say to your week one opponent, Mr. Kobe, who's joined us in the chat?
Hello.
Kobe, I hope I heard you, but I've actually beat Kobe, but not in the OMFL. I beat him in the deuce. So
he definitely did. He definitely beat me in the deuce. He's a tough guy to play. It's going to be a tough week one game.
I would say it like this, and I know that I'll never get him. If I had the Chiefs in the OMFL, I would be Super Bowl contender every single year.
I love this guy's confidence. Yeah, he would be competing for a playoff spot every year. I won't say Super Bowl, but definitely in the playoffs every year.
I play so much better with the Chiefs, and I guess it's just a timing thing. And hopefully I can put all those pieces together here in Arizona, because I am remaking them in the Chiefs' image.
Well, Joker, I'm pulling for you, man. You're one of my favorite guys here, and got some Southern roots. Who knows? We probably have family that are connected some way, somehow. So
probably do. Probably.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming to be a part of the draft show. Pulling for your Cardinals, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
There you have it, Mr. Joker of the Arizona Cardinals. Another team I'm surprised he didn't move, right? Like Arizona Cardinals, kind of boring a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me. Be a fun team to move around. He is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Let's welcome in our next guest. Your AFC champion, defending champion, fell just short in OMFL Bowl number 106. Mr. Kobe of the New York Jets. How you doing tonight, Kobe?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Man, it is a pleasure to have you. Let's talk about that film. Tough loss. You battled to the very end. Man, you had him on the ropes a couple of different times. Anything looking back on that game that you wish you could have done a little bit differently?
You know, I definitely sad about it yesterday. I was thinking about it probably all day, just like what I would have done differently. And I kind of came to the conclusion that I wouldn't have done anything differently. I just wish I executed a little bit differently. Like the 4th and 1 play that kind of decided the game. I'm not mad that I went for it. I'm a little mad at how I attacked it. 4th and 1, I think a lot of coaches run up the middle. It's a little easy to guess. I should have made it a little bit more complicated in that scenario. I kind of made it a little too easy for D-Money in that spot. But, I mean, I didn't stop Pacheco, and I still had a chance to win, so I can't really be too mad at myself.
Well, coming off of that, looking back at that game, what was the off-season mindset as you moved into the off-season?
I was so mad because Aaron Rodgers didn't retire. I had run sims like to project if he was going to be on the team where we won the Super Bowl, we lost the Super Bowl, we went 0-17, and he always retired. So when he didn't retire, it was a shock because I didn't have money, and so my whole offseason had to change that I was prepared for. So instead of trying to re-sign a bunch of the guys that I had to let guys walk that I wanted to keep, and I also had to kind of go for more of those fringe players instead of maybe starters, maybe more backup roles or hybrid role players.
So it sounds like he's coming back. Why not use a salary cap bonus cut him, and just kind of move on with your new plan?
Honestly, I don't think I have the incentive tier earned up to do that. If I had that, I would definitely consider doing that, but not an option for me, unfortunately.
Well, moving into the draft, what was the main focus? You had gathered a couple of picks, some really nice picks, even though you were in the AFC Championship, in the bowl game. What was the mindset of where you were going to attack this draft?
I'm still attacking one position, but 3 positions I needed to attack. I need 1 offensive lineman, I need 1 outside linebacker, and I need, oh my goodness, what was the other position I needed? Safety. I need a safety and outside linebacker.
I seen you take a safety.
Yeah, so those are my key positions I needed to fill potentially a starter in. So that was really what I was focused on. That's really all I've had the opportunity to draft. I've only had, this is 3 picks so far. So I'm pretty happy with how it's gone so far. I mean, 2 hidden devs, and hopefully they're good overalls as well. They're not just like trash can hiddens. That was really what I was aiming at.
Trey, what do you got for our guy?
Well, Kobe, you had a almost perfect season with the 2 slip-ups towards the end of it, and then obviously in the OMFL Bowl. Do you feel you can replicate that again this year, or do you feel like you're going to have a tougher schedule now that you're sitting in the division championships slot?
It's not necessarily the schedule that I'm worried about, because I feel like I am capable of competing with every owner here. It's more or less, will I get the consistency out of my quarterback? And we saw it in the bowl game. Aaron had some bad throws. I had some bad reads as well. And if I don't get that consistent quarterback play, there's no possible chance I have of repeating that success.
Now, obviously, we saw Dalvin Cook, walked.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still sitting in free agency. Is that going to be a potential, maybe, thought process to bring him back?
If I had the cap space, I would consider it. But in all honesty, Dalvin was never truly my number 1 back. It was always Breece, because Breece was more dynamic in terms of the passing game. So I would use Dalvin, and Dalvin would just have games where he took over, and then I wouldn't use Breece as much. But
Like the bowl game.
The goal is, yes, the bowl game was a great example. Dalvin just was running crazy, but I'm, as someone that doesn't want to run the ball, I got away from it a little bit. If I had to cap, I would consider it, but I'm definitely leaning towards just getting Breece as many touches as possible.
Can I jump in real quick? Is it surprising to you that he's still out there, that someone hasn't paid the money to him?
No, but only because he's asking for $9 million.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's asking for that much money. That is insane for a 29-year-old halfback.
Fair enough. Now, you were very good with your Alex trickery offense, almost to a college degree. Do you think that's going to change up a bit more now? Adding a aged up once again Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to just give you all a little tidbit. Aaron Rodgers is benched. He regressed down to an 80 overall, and his accuracies aren't even really better than Zach's anymore. I was developing Zach all last year. So the main question is, how can I add more to my offense? And will Zach be able to complete passes from the pocket? Now, Zach's a little bit more athletic, so he'll be able to get out of the pocket. But if he is awful, like I have fear he will be, then I may be picking in the middle of the draft next year or worse, if he's that bad. But Aaron's not going to see the field unless Zach gets injured.
Wow. You're paying that much to...
I need him to retire also. If I play him and he doesn't retire, I'm going to be paying him $50 million at like a 70 overall quarterback. So that's how I feel like I'm forced.
That's a very risky proposition there, my friend.
Yeah, it is. I'm hoping to pull a little Trey and just, low overall quarterback, just play well, hopefully.
Well, I'm sure you can study the film and figure out how I worked that through. You have 3 interesting wide receivers, all of different skill sets. You have Mike Williams, obviously more of a jump ball guy. Garrett Wilson, more of a route running style, and McCole Hardman, who's a burner. Does that play a factor in how you're looking to run with Zach Wilson as your quarterback?
Well, yes. Ideally, just like I did with Aaron Rodgers, I want to be pass first. I want to throw the ball upwards of 35 times a game and get Breece's touches as well in the pass game. But if I find he can't do it, then we're going to have to shift and go more heavy run game and maybe even look to trade one of those wide receivers. It's probably going to end up being Mike Williams just because he is going to cost whoever. There's no cap penalty for him, and I'm a little close to the cap penalty line. That would have to be him, I think. And I don't know if anyone's going to be even interested in him. Just to try and go back to more, because I run a lot of 3 wide receiver. I might have to go back to more 2 wide receiver to get the run game better.
And just the last little thing here. I'm going to run through the schedule for you, and let me get your opinion. So you've got, as mentioned, we have the Cardinals week 1. You follow with a friendly matchup with your boy Meek in week 2. Roger in week 3. The Condors in week 4, the Jaguars 5, week 6 is against the Bills, week 7 is against the Rams, week 8 you play the Dragons, Week 9, you have a bye week. Week 10, you got the Dolphins. Week 11, you got the Patriots. Week 12, as I mentioned earlier in the show, you have your AFC rematch with Cincy and Steelers. Then you play the Dolphins again, Titans, 49ers, Patriots, Bills, and lastly the Chiefs.
That is my schedule. What was your question?
How do you feel about it? Do you feel confident knowing that your schedule is not as rough as you may have thought, or maybe is it rougher than you thought?
It's not rougher than I thought. It's as difficult as it was last year because being in the AFC East, there's no lack of competition. These guys over here compete and they do it every game with me. You guys saw what Bill held me to in that divisional round. I scored 10. That man is really good at defense, and he knows, whether he likes to admit it or not, what I like to run. He knows what I want to do, and it showed. Thankfully, I know what he wants to do, so that's how we get to a 10-3 ball game. But it's going to be just as difficult as it was the first time, and like I said, it all is going to come down to consistency. But I am looking forward to definitely playing Cincy. I'm sure he's going to be ready to play in Week 12. It's always fun to play D-Money. We're going to play him in Week 15, unless he's on vacation. But either way, we'll be playing in Week 15.
Careful what you say. He's here.
I know he's here. We had a great game in the Super Bowl. Hopefully we get to have a great game in Week 15.
Well, Kobe,
Any
yeah, I can't wait to see, I think the expectations always for you are Super Bowl or bust. And it sounds like a lot is going to be riding on the quarterback situation. I'd love to hear, though, what other big changes may surprise people when it comes to the game plan and the players that will be out there for you?
I would say you're probably going to see less receptions out of my halfback, just because the stamina is going to be getting hit a little bit more. I feel as if that might take Brees off the field more, and he might not have as many receptions, as much success in the pass game as he had. Oh, let's go! As much success game as he had in last season, but we just got our starting left tackle. Let's go.
There you go. Live inside knowledge on the draft.
Yeah, he's a beast. I'm excited. Oh, that's perfect. Now I've drafted everything I've needed in my mind that I needed to replace.
Well, Kobe, I'm pulling for you, man, and can't wait to see what happens in the AFC. It should be a hell of a battle. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to make a run. Miami's trying to turn things around. Denver and his Bengals, always trying to make a run. Browns trying to figure out that there's a lot of teams gunning for you, but you have shown time and time again that you're ready for them. You will have a good game plan, and you'll be ready to scheme yourself to some wins. So, pulling for you. Thanks for making some time to come hang out with us tonight, and good luck in season 107, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Mr. Kobe of the New York Jets. We heard it live reaction. Super pumped about that right tackle. And I've been talking about how right tackles are dead and gone. It's all gone, and yet he found him one here late in the 4th round. So good job on the New York Jets, able to find the guy that he needed. Here's what we're going to do, Trey. I'm going to turn it over to you. If anybody can fill airspace, it's you. Bring in our next guest. I don't know if we have somebody here or not. If not,
we do.
Okay, I'm going to let you bring them on. I'm going to step out, though, grab some water, grab a little pee break, and then I'll pop right back in. Who are we bringing in?
The man, the myth, the legend, if he's here, the defending Super Bowl champion, Mr. D.
Wow, we get Mr. D-Money right after Mr. Kobe. Trey, take it away with D-Money. I will be right back.
Mr. Money, how do you do?
Hey, Trey, can you hear me?
Yep. All good. How's it going?
What's going on?
Not too much.
How are you?
How's the draft going for you so far?
Good, I think. I had those 3 first-round picks. I actually shopped them a little bit to try to move way up to get one of those corners that went to the Vikings and I think Giants, 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't, because I would have traded all those picks for neither one of them.
There you go. How does it feel coming off the slow start to the season that ended in OMFL?
Yeah, I think I missed the first couple couple games. I was in California for sister's wedding. Then I lost. I forget which ones I lost. I think I lost 1 or 2 games. The adjustments, they weren't there for, especially with our new rules of no hot routes, no huddling or audibling. So it took me a little while to get used to all that, but I think probably the last 6 or 7 games I started to really feel it and get comfortable.
Now, we all know that you made the trade for Pacheco in season. With you now having him for the full year, do we expect a healthy dose of Pacheco down our throats?
Yeah. With the 80-20 rule, I do like, Nate's mentioned it before, I do like running with 2 or 3 guys. But Pacheco was just so good, and it seemed like he never got tired. But I still have Mitchell and Davis Price, who's got that like strength speed combo, 80 plus strength, 90 plus speed. And I like all 3 guys. So it'll still be a lot of Pacheco, but I have no problem mixing in the other 2.
Now, we saw you went out and drafted a young tight end. Obviously, Kittle's up there in age and aging. We also saw towards the end of the Madden 20 cycle, you had Darren Waller and Kittle, and that was quite a problem. Do you expect to try and have that as a weapon of sorts again?
Yeah, I mean, Kittle's not going to go anywhere. He'll probably be with me the whole cycle, I would assume. He'll be maybe 33, 34. I don't know, maybe last season. We'll see. But that tight end pick was just, I mean, he was the fastest in the draft. All his route running was in the A's. That was just kind of a luxury pick. I run a lot of, what's it called, the 2 tight end sets. So, like you said, with Waller and Kittle before, that was fun. So this guy that I took, I think he was 88, 89 speed, something like that, with good route running. So I'm just going to try to replicate it.
Gosh, I'm so happy. I didn't even know. Oh, wait, you didn't win either. Jesus, oh no. Gotta check my schedule. Looking at the aspect, you have a very talented team. You're going up against 2 other very talented teams in a rebuilding Rams squad. Which of those 3 teams do you feel gives you the most challenging to scheme against?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. Joker and Meek, they're so different, but I don't know. Joker, I don't know as well. Obviously, he's in that other league that I've only been in the OMFL. Meek, I think I kind of have a decent idea of what he's trying to do, but I probably have to go with Meek. He's really tough, and I think as I play Joker more, I'll get a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, I'd have to say Meek.
Now, we got your schedule up here. You have, obviously, being the defending champions, you open up with a Thursday night game against Bird and the Commanders, followed up with the Cardinals and Joker, the newly formed Omaha Dragons and Big Hurt, a Sunday night matchup in Detroit. Yay me. You have the Seahawks then, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Rams, a bye week in week 9, another matchup with the Seahawks, the Chargers, the Rams, the Packers, the Bills, the Jets, the Vikings, the Falcons, and you wrap up once again with the Cardinals. How do you feel knowing that you're kind of at the tail end, going on a little bit of a road spree before the playoffs?
That schedule sounds kind of brutal. I haven't seen it. But yeah, I mean, home games, away games, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll make the playoffs.
Cool.
Pretty
sounds
sure.
like our main man Nate's back.
Yeah, I'm back, coughing up a lung, still fighting bronchitis. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, I might make the playoffs. What a comment from a guy who's got more silverware in his trophy room than he does his drawer at home for his kitchen. D-Money, I missed a lot of this because I need to step out and take a breather really quick. But what was the mindset coming off of a championship run going into your offseason? Because clearly you dumped some salary, picked up a bunch of assets, and you're rebuilding. But what was kind of the thought process?
Yeah, I was telling Trey, I wanted to get one of those corners that went first and I think third overall.
Yep. Let me
I was
pause. You
actually
said that
thinking
there was a deal out there that you could have moved up. Was this with the Vikings?
No. I thought about packaging all three to try to move up and within the top, 6 or 7.
Okay.
Because I don't have a lot of holes, and I would love another shutdown corner. Kevin is right. I love my corners. But I'm glad I didn't, because I'd have traded all those and wouldn't have gotten either one of them. So just kind of stayed where I was. I was going to go with what did I have? The 22nd, 24th, and 32nd. Until Priest posted that linebacker who's like right up my alley, 6'4", all his athletic attributes are amazing. He can cover. So I think I dumped my pick for him, and then I was eyeing a corner to kind of build up, and then the O lineman I got, I think was one of the highest rated. So O lineman, corner, and then just whatever with my last first.
Well, help us out with the two guys that are going to be making predictions on Press Pass Live. You travel a lot. You're always on the go. Are we going to get a full season of D-Money, or is travel going to get in the way and we're going to get like a D-Money that misses the playoffs? Because that's going to affect these predictions they're going to have to roll out here.
Yeah, I missed the first few games for my sister's wedding in season 1. Around Christmas time, we go home for Christmas. All the families in California, so we're usually gone for a good week and a half. If playoffs come around, I have brought the PlayStation before, but where we stay, the internet is so bad. Games just constantly drop, so it's not even worth bringing anymore. Hopefully, it doesn't line up like that, but. The baby is due in Janual, so we are going to be stuck at home forever, I think, is how that works out.
You'll adjust. You'll find your footing. You'll find your traction. It is adjustment. There will be an adjustment period, but you'll find it pretty quickly. Who's the team that really pushes you to your skills and pushes you to your limits? Or maybe that's not the great way to phrase it, but a team that really pushes you to have to focus in. Is there one or two guys that really come to the surface?
Cincy. Kobe and I think we've only played once, so I can't say him, even though the Super Bowl was really tough. But I think Cincy, he's beaten me the last 2 games for sure, maybe 3. I can't remember, but he beat me in the Super Bowl, and then I think the season before that, or might actually have been during the same season. He might have beat me during the regular season and then in the Super Bowl.
Trey, wrap it up with our guy D-Money.
Well, Mr. D-Money, you've shown that if you can take back Trey Lance, whether he's a good overall, you can make him work. Do you plan to keep Trey Lance the entire cycle?
Yeah, probably. I'm hoping on re-sign, since he is lower, overall. He's not going to ask for too much. He'll sail it every now and then. I think he had like maybe 2 or 3 bad throws in the Super Bowl, which could have really helped. But I'd rather pay a quarterback $9 or $10 million and take a couple bad throws than pay somebody 30.
This might have got asked, and so forgive me if so. I get to make my first selection in this draft, which hurts me to say. We've seen you draft a tight end. Is this a Kittle replacement? Is this something we're looking towards the future?
No, I was telling Trey, I run a lot of 2 tight end sets, and he was just kind of a luxury pick. He had the fastest speed out of the tight ends that I saw. All his route running was in the A's. So, with a few extra picks, I just, made that one, and I'll pair him with Kittle. Kittle's not going to go anywhere.
Well, D-Money, I appreciate you making time for us, man. Of course, you are a Hall of Famer here and a guy that just continues to be dominant. And so I expect nothing less from your team next season. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. And golly, this bronchitis is killing me, y'all. I can't wait to see some baby photos in January. So I'm looking forward to meeting little baby D-Money, and we'll have to get together and get him their first PlayStation controller or something as a toy.
Yeah, for sure.
D-Money, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming to make some time for us.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Well, there you have it. D-Money of the 49ers, the multiple time champion D-Money here in this league. And is that our first kicker, maybe? I don't know. It's been hard to pay attention with the interviews, but it's one of the first, if not the first. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
I was going to go kicker as well, and then I lost all my picks. I was like, oh, crap, I'm going to have to go spend money. And I actually got guys not too expensive. And if I have to cut them next season, I can cut them and eat the cap and draft me some guys even cheaper. But kickers were actually fairly inexpensive in free agency, and I was able to solve that problem pretty quickly. Got anybody else, or do we have an open phone line?
We have an open phone line unless Roger wants to, finally unmute.
Yeah, Mr. Roger, are you around? I heard Packers are out the rest of the draft. Commanders. Anybody new?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Well, we're rolling now. We're getting towards the end of the 5th round. That's not too bad. The timing feels pretty good. It's only 9:47. This has not been too bad. Let's hopefully this doesn't bog down in the 6th and 7th round. Well, the phone lines are open. If you want to come pop in, you can do this on your phone.
No longer.
Computer, it is no longer open.
The phone
keep an eye on
no
the chat.
longer open, Nate.
Who we bringing in?
The man that went and got himself a new quarterback. The man that's probably going to be running our option plays. The one and only Mr. D. Wayne.
Mr. D. Wayne. This is a guy been begging to come back, begging to get back on the show. He's got a new job and it still hasn't happened yet. So this is one of my old Press Pass Live co-hosts. Mr. D. Wayne, how you doing tonight, bud?
Oh.
Is he muted?
I can't tell if y'all can hear me or not.
Now we can hear you.
Hey, there you go.
It was a slight echo.
Really? I don't know why. No echo on our end. Do you have the show on? Is that maybe why? Uh-oh. He disappeared again.
Yeah. He's still here, just technical difficulties.
I think it was the show.
Oh, now he's back. Yeah. Now you're back. Yeah, it was probably the show on. You're probably hearing it on both sides.
It was.
Mr. D. Wayne, the most non-technology young person I've ever met in my entire life.
That's a fact.
Buddy, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm staying up for the draft, staying up, getting ready, and then I'm going to take a nap and get up about 3:30 in the morning.
What's in the beverage container tonight?
It's pretty light. The wife took me out after I got off work. We went and had a few drinks and came home because I told her I had to make the draft. So
nice.
She was overly thrilled to hear I was hurrying home to make the draft.
Mine was overly thrilled too. I think, but really thrilled this time because she's like, I'm tired and I want to go to bed early anyway. So, D. Wayne, you have made some major changes. Not something we see from you. You are Mr. Steady Eddie, consistent, if nothing else. You don't like to mess with your team, but you went a whole nother direction. Fields is the new starting quarterback in Dallas. Tell us about why that decision came to be.
It was tough. I'm obviously a big Cowboys fan in real life, so trading or moving on from Dak was huge. But that cap hit was awful, and I think I have like $120 million worth of contracts come up this next season, and it was either play with Dak one more season or ride with Purdy after the fact. And the longer I sat with the Purdy, the more nervous it made me. And then I happened to see Big Hurt teasing me with Fields, and we talked for a couple of days about it. And I told him, I said I was ready to give in to his concessions. And I do like to stick with kind of what I do. But what I did has not got me over the hump that I need to get over, which is who was on earlier. He who should not be named. So, so I had to make a move and try to throw a kink in it because, I always say that D-Money and me play a lot alike. He just does a lot better and a lot more efficient than I do. So I had to kind of throw a kink in it, trying to throw him for a loop a little bit. But my division in general is just getting better, so I couldn't sit pat while everybody else gets better. So I had to get out of my comfort zone this offseason.
Dwayne, you got to be honest with me. When your guy took that punt return back, there had to be some kind of celebration there.
I take what I can get from Madden sometimes. I think Trey can speak for that because I think when we played each other, I think I had 3. The only reason I was even in the game was 3 kick return touchdowns maybe or something like that. So you take what Madden gives you sometimes, and against D-Money, you'll take everything you can get. But yeah, I think I was actually talking to Kevin about that the other day. I said I've never came out of a loss optimistic.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's just a competitive. That game could win either way. So I was kind of hoping that was something I could build on going into next season, which I was looking at my schedule. I've been talking to everybody about their schedules. My schedule's pretty favorable this year because Trey obviously didn't win his division for once. D-Money didn't win his division for once. So guess who doesn't have to play either one of them during the regular season? This guy. So that's 2 less games I got to really worry about.
Trey, what do you got for our guy D-Wayne?
Mr. Newman, I have insider information. How do you feel knowing you won the John Field sweepstakes over both me and Nate?
To be fair, I pulled out, which is not a statement I thought I'd make tonight.
I honestly didn't know y'all were either one of y'all. The way that I kind of talked to Hurt, he didn't say I was. Obviously, that's a good negotiation tactic, but I had no clue that anybody else was even interested. He asked for somebody who was kind of a building block player of mine in Mozzie Smith, and then obviously Purdy. The first round pick was kind of the breaking one. I said I really need that first round pick to replace that defensive tackle, and I knew with him having Tua that Fields was a lot more expendable than he would have been a few weeks earlier. But I sure didn't know. But I'm sure glad to see him on my team rather than either of y'all's teams.
Yeah. I found out Mozzie Smith was the turning point. What got you the dang Justin Fields?
A cowboy to cowboy fan. He obviously cared about getting Mozzie Smith, and that played in my favor for once.
Yes, it did. Obviously, you mentioned your schedule. You don't have in the line sight. Does it really feel like a schedule that you could potentially do what the Steelers and Jets failed to do last season and take the table and run it?
No, I don't. There's still a bunch of good teams on there, and I don't know if I've ever ran a thing like that. But I have Meek. I have the NFC South this year, and we know that that's the grinded out division. I have the Steelers week 3. Yeah, obviously the NFC East. And I think I get the AFC East. No, I don't think so, because it gets to, like you said, 16 or 17 or 18. If you kind of got it locked up, you do kind of slow it down. For Trey's sake, I didn't slow it down week 18 this year, Trey. You should. I got
Thank
you.
you.
I couldn't just sit on my hands. But that was with trying to rest a few people. Just with the injury bug we had this year, I tried to take a few people in and out, but just for my conscience sake, I couldn't just sit on my hands. But yeah, I don't think I run the table.
I would have preferred the higher pick. Thank you.
I just get you in the door. I imagine Bird was hoping so. That was such a torn one right there. But now I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Fields. I hadn't had a running quarterback probably like this since I had Cam Newton in his prime with the Colts. So it'll be interesting to have somebody. And Fields is stupid. I didn't realize he was as fast as he was. So the people that really got annoyed with the quarterback runs are really going to enjoy Fields at 93 speed or whatever he is. So I'm looking forward to it. Dak was fun. He can't pass like Dak, at least statistically can't pass like Dak did. But everybody knows that I prefer. I'm the opposite of Kobe earlier, trying to throw 35 passes a game. If I don't pass more than 20 times, I'm a happy camper. But with everybody's defense being so good, I mean, the Saints are always hard to run against. Your Lions are hard to run against. D-Money's impossible to run against. Most people know you want to run the ball. And like I said, with the audibles, not being there, especially for the first 5 minutes, most people know they just play the box and try to make me beat them passing the ball. And that's not a bad recipe for success against my team.
Now, I hate to break this to you, but it's well known that your favorite thing is the crossing route. Do you feel like people are going to start focusing in on that more now that the play pass option is back?
I didn't have the speed. Even Lamb, I didn't realize after I played the 49ers, Lamb didn't have a single catch in the against D-Money in the playoffs. Because I will avoid the other team's best cornerback if I can, even if it takes out my best receiver. I would love to open up some more crossing routes. My passes, it would help my passing game a lot. But I would love to open up more. I couldn't get the deep ball going at all. I didn't get my import really involved till late in the season, and he's really the only real speed I have. I would love to be able to get some deep crossing routes or some deep go routes involved in the game. I think it would open up a little more. But yeah, I would love to open up the passing game a little bit more, but we know how that is. If I can run with Pollard or with Hines now 30 times a game,
crazy.
I would love to just stick with that as well.
Now, you lost somebody last season at the very beginning. He's back. Will Maxwell Bass finally finish his season healthy?
Well, I'll say this. He's been in the league now for like 9 seasons, and 2 of the 9, he's went out for the whole season the first game. Which is crazy to me. I just used my regression prevention on him. I know he lost like 30 XP regression-wise, so I had to use it on him. Hopefully he makes a big one. I had to make a trade last year, obviously, to pick up a tight end with a little bit of speed. Bass doesn't have that same speed, but has all the other attributes that helps him out. I'm hoping he's a big factor this year. So if you're a fantasy guy, I would recommend picking Bass up unless he gets injured again.
I was just giving space. I never know with Mr. Trey. So he's a full of all kinds of questions. So I always give space there.
I know he's taking notes.
I wanted to ask just around how Fields changed the mindset or the plan moving into the offseason. Was this something that just happened? A lot like my Giants trade? Was this something planned for? And how did it change things as you move through free agency and the draft?
It changed a lot. It was not planned at all until I just happened to see him pop up in the trade block when the Dragons, as they are now, decided to make some moves themselves. And Dak's cap hit was just stupid. I think I went to offseason like $6 or $7 million in cap. And I think I was trying to pull up my salaries while we were on the thing here. But yeah, I didn't plan on it. And we talked for a little bit about it. And when I decided to pull the move, I decided to use that and get rid of Dak. I don't know where he's going to end up. For some reason, I have a deep feeling that he might end up with the Giants, since
Wouldn't surprise
Colin
me.
didn't pick a quarterback. But I do have, I think all my top guys: Lawrence, Tyron Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Gilmore, Martin. I have like my top 5 guys are all up for contract next year. And so I just knew there was no way with Dak that I'd be able to swing that. And I was really scared to get stuck with Purdy. As much as I like the idea of it, I think the 85 throwing power was really going to just kill any deep ball. So, yeah, I had to take a flyer on it. And I seen Hurt's a better passer than I am, and I seen the struggles that he had during certain games with him last year. So I'm kind of hoping there's a fine line between getting him much better, because right now he's 79 overall. If he gets much better, he's going to get expensive. So it's kind of a torn thing. You don't want to get him much better because you're going to have to pay him $30 million a year. But he also, like D-Money said earlier, these type of quarterbacks going to miss throws throughout the game. They're just going to frustrate you.
Dwayne, the reason that we have a minimum throwing number, you have to throw it at least this many times. That is the reason that we have that, because of my guy Dwayne. Right. What are some real expectations, though, Dwayne? What do you think your Cowboys are going to be able to do in season 107?
Well, I mean, I obviously expect. I say expect. I hope to make the playoffs always. I mean, I shoot to make the playoffs, but at this point, it's. And I knew last season that if I won that last game, I was going to get D-Money in the second round. If he won his game, I was going to get it, and I knew it. And I had a few people text me and say, well, if you lose that game, you avoid D-Money at least for a round. But I think we all know that championship runs through him. So you got to beat him at some point.
Yep.
And so I wasn't going to avoid that. But yeah, I think he's the pinnacle. And I'm not trying to even put him on a pedestal, but he has been my kryptonite on this side for a long time of making my OMFL bowls. So yeah, to get through him, and like I said, you got Trey, you got Meek, you got Colin. You can say what you want about Colin's 2-15 season. Colin's always a competitor, but this is one of the deepest, probably most parity I've seen in the NFC in a long time. So you don't know who you're going to run into in the playoffs. I expect to see myself in the playoffs, but I don't think the playoffs are enough. I think I have to make a run, and I have to get over D-Money at some point.
2 questions. I'm going to get you out of here. Number 1, are we ever going to get you back on Press Pass Live?
I would love to be back on Press Pass Live. If this new job has been real fun. We had a guy had an accident not too long ago, and then all these guys that have been there for 40 years take hunting season off. If you're these people that don't hunt, this is hunting season.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I've been days, nights, and now back on days for like 26 days straight. So yeah, it should go through about January, December, somewhere around there. So if we get back on there at some point,
right,
I'll be glad to get back on there. I don't know if you keep me on there as much as you keep Trey on there, but I'll be glad to be a guest speaker every now and then.
Well, let's put on our old Press Pass co-hosting hat. Where does the power truly live in the OMFL now? Has there been a power shift? Is it in the NFC still? Is it the AFC? Where do you see the power in the OMFL?
That's a good question. I do think the AFC is a little more top heavy than the NFC is. I think the NFC has D-Money, and then obviously the rest of us trying to chase him. The AFC, though, to me, you have a bunch of young guns pushing for it, and I say young guns, just new teams that are pushing for the threshold. Obviously, Kobe is the pinnacle of the AFC right now. I think he might have won he won the last championship of the OMFL last year? I can't remember, but he's obviously been D-Money-like now for a Madden or two. I still think the NFC's got it. I think the NFC's still just deeper and heavier, and I know that gives motivation some teams from the AFC, but I look at the 3 of us that are talking right now. I think Kevin, I think Maniac, Meek, Big Hurt, you could go down to Priest. You keep go down farther and farther. I look at somebody like Cats or Black Panther, or Panther Nation, as everybody knows him here, is better than his 7-10 record. Colin's better than his 2-15 record. You got a Viking scene now who has an owner who nobody has a clue about, so he could come in here and be the next Kobe or Trey walking in here.
Yeah.
So I think the NFC's deeper. I think the AFC has some really top-heavy teams, but I think the NFC as a whole is just super, super deep.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Mr. Dwayne, for making time for us and popping in. I miss having you on the show. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what your Cowboys do. Brand new day in Dallas. A mobile quarterback? Yes, it is true, friends. We have a brand new quarterback leading the Dallas Cowboys, and I can't wait to see what you do with them. I appreciate you making time for us tonight, bud.
Yeah, have a good night.
There you have it, your owner of the Dallas Cowboys, one of the greatest guys here, one of multi-time champion, forever-time board member has been here, Mr. Dwayne. And we're coming to the middle of the 6th round here. Do we have an open line or somebody else popped in here?
It is wide open.
It's wide open. I will say I'm seeing a lot of these clocks start to tick down to zeros. We had asked that you post it when you were done in chat. I haven't got an update that anybody has said that, but we're asking that you help us out. I hate sitting here in the 6th and 7th round and watching these clocks tick all the way down. And I have this little urge to start moving past you. So the Steelers are no longer drafting?
That is correct.
Let me make my pick here. So far, it's been tougher this draft, but so far, any winners of this draft for you?
It's hard to say immediately, but there's potential for a lot of teams, I feel.
Any teams that kind of float to the surface?
I think you'd have to put the Vikings in there. They capitalize with their picks. You know, they went and got a corner, which is a big need for the team. And they've just been building and stockpiling a lot of positions that you definitely need, especially inside of a division that has 3 teams that are both run and pass threats, no matter which way you look at it.
Oof, that guy's terrible. I reached just because I had to. I had to bring in somebody to see if I could fill a gap, and that definitely ain't gonna do it. So Nate will be looking for a fullback with a couple of ideas in my mind. So we're coming here towards the end of the 6th round. I am completely done in this draft. It looks like the Steelers are done. I think the Rams are done. The Commanders have been done. The Packers are done. So a couple teams done here that we'll be able to skip through, and we're coming to the end. We will pause for 30 minutes. We will pause for 30 minutes on week 1 to allow you to get through as many of those as you can. It's the best that we can offer you. Then we will go to our 10 minutes, get to round number 4, and then at round number 4, we will pause for 24 hours, let everybody set their rosters, sign free agents. You cannot sign anybody until week number 4, not even people with no waiver wire. Remember, 68 and over, waiver wire, 67 and under, you can sign free for all. That cannot happen until week 4. You should then set your practice squads. You should make your cuts. You should get ready for week 1 in the OMFL, which will be here tomorrow night. If everyone gets it done before advance time, perfect. If not, we will advance at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time tomorrow, and we will start week number 1. Will be a good time here in the OMFL. Open phone lines if you want to call in. The numbers are dropping. People are going to bed. It's been a long day. It's been a great draft. This has to be one of the highest turnout drafts that we have ever had. Joker, we'll stay live just for a few minutes. Usually once we get to the end, I recap what we're doing and then we wrap it up. But open phone lines. Go ahead.
I can't believe I said this, but I somehow found a hidden div in the 6th round.
Nice. Looks like Big Hurt. My goodness. Big Hurt, Maniac, and is that Cincy? I think that's Cincy. I can't really tell. I don't know who that is. It might be Bronco Man. I think that's Bronco Man. So it looks like Big Hurt, Bronco Man, who said he wanted to come be interviewed and never popped in here. I see you, Bronco Man. And Maniac are still going strong. So make sure to go over there and pop in and support them a little bit. We're coming into the end of the 6th round here. Just trying to get caught up in trying to get caught up here with the Discord chat. Lots of snapshots, lots of pictures. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's going to be such a cool way to kind of keep track of everything. And an open phone line. Mr. Rogers said that he was having to do physics homework, and so it looked like our guy was not able to actually talk to us because of some physics homework, which sucks. But I appreciate him at least attempting to be here. It's been a good draft, man. It's been a lot of good conversations. I thought we'd have more call-ins here towards the end, but it is what it is as we roll through the 6th round with the Bengals on the clock. Now over to the Condors. When I really think about winners of this draft, I do think the Giants have done a good job. I think they've definitely replaced some talent. And sure, free agency, there are some guys. But man, you're going to fight a lot of other teams that didn't get what they wanted or are not happy with what they have. And there's also greedy teams. I think we can both agree. There's some greedy teams out there that are just going to go after these top guys to be backups because they have the space and they want to do it. That's going to definitely happen. But I'm just scared about that quarterback position. I love what the Atlanta Falcons have done. I like what the Miami Dolphins have done. I think Big Hurt has had a really good draft. I think there's been a lot of solid drafts. I'm really interested to see what Neon Sports says about like who won the draft and giving out their draft grades. It should be a really fun way to look at that.
We got some phone calls.
Tell me who we're bringing in.
The first line is one of Shocks.
Mr. Shocks fan himself of the Kansas City Chiefs, the guy that everyone hated when we watched OMFL Bowl number 106, but he is standing firm, and that's what I love about my dude. He's not wavering. You guys aren't going to make him waver. Shocks fan, how you doing tonight, bud?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I love the content. I love that we get to see guns out, suns out. I love that we've seen the face. I want to see more of that in season 107. We're not going to talk about Pacheco. We're not going to touch on it. We've killed that horse till it's dead. But I do have to ask, were you watching to see what he did with that first round pick?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, that's all in the past. The Pacheco thing, I mean, it is what it is. I know he had some great success, but I had some great success with Christian McCaffrey. So, and I made the playoffs, and I think it all worked out. I mean,
tell me the mindset. What was the mindset of the Kansas City Chiefs? Sorry. This bronchitis is killing me, Shocks. You get bounced out of the playoffs. You have a great run. But then you have to turn your mindset to your team in the offseason. What was that mindset and the thought process?
yeah, my first deal was kind of what do I do with Chris Jones? I knew I didn't want to like completely drop him, and he's too good of a player just to like, okay, you're not re-signing him, not franchise tagging or nothing. So I kind of had to figure out what I was going to do there. We ended up franchise tagging him, and I made it work under the cap. So, and that kind of setting me on what kind of moves I had to make. So I had to let go like Willie Gay, a few good speedy linebackers, but that's what I kind of concentrated on this draft tonight was just kind of rebuilding that linebacker core, and that was kind of probably my biggest hole coming into tonight.
Do you feel like you filled those holes? Were you getting more hits than misses, or are there still things out there that you're like, okay, we're going to have to come back in free agency to meet those needs?
Yeah, it's hard to tell until you actually get to play with the player. I mean, I think one thing I liked about Willie Gay was his speed, and I feel like I got a couple speedy linebackers to kind of fill his role. And so, but until you actually like go in, play your games, and play with the player, it's kind of it's hard to tell until you get into it and everything. So,
well, we've started round number 7, so we're gonna be landing this plane fairly soon. Trey, what do you got for our guy Shocks?
You're in a very interesting division in the AFC West. Do you feel you have the ability to keep a stranglehold on it as you had the last few seasons, or do you feel like now with the Broncos and Raiders both getting new quarterbacks that they could potentially give you a run for your money, and the Chargers now adding a little bit more extra pieces to their system will be able to stay competitive throughout the season instead of falling off?
yeah, one thing I actually kind of love about our division is the competitiveness between all four of us. Me and Pepper always have our battles, and feels like we're always fighting at the top. And as we've seen, previous Maddens, that is Jay Boyles and the Denver and his Raiders, and Jay Glaze and the Broncos. They've shown in the past that they can win, and they get the right pieces around them. They're a threat, and so that's one thing I love about our division is the competitiveness between all four of us. I mean, you can pick any four of us, and I don't think it's going to be any four of us to win the division, and it wouldn't be any shock. So that's one thing I do love about the AFC West.
Now, obviously, it's a very stacked AFC as of late when it comes to the playoffs. Do you feel like you have the pieces in place that you can finally manipulate your way through and potentially make a run for the OMFL Bowl?
Yeah, my first goal is just win a sneaking playoff game. I've gotten to the playoff. I got to the playoff a couple times last Madden, and then obviously this past season we made it. And I'm just whatever whatever it is I ran into some big dogs, and I still need to get over that hump to kind of. I think if I can win that first playoff game, that kind of can get me some momentum to maybe make a miraculous run to an OMFL Bowl.
Cool. Mr. Nate?
Shocks, what is the thing that needs to happen with the Chiefs moving into season 107 for you continue to make those strides and go deeper in the playoffs?
I think probably for me personally, it's just being consistent. Man, I feel like I've hung with the big dogs, right? Like this past season, I hung with Kobe, for example. He had a crazy good season. Me and him were in a deadlock game, and he ended up getting that animation at the end to block a game time field goal to send into overtime. I feel like I can compete with everyone. It's just bringing that consistency to the Chiefs, and a lot of times part of my problem sometimes is when things go south, I just tend to force things instead of continually to play my game, and that just kind of just need to improve my consistency in that area, I believe.
Well, give me a real prediction. What do you predict your Chiefs are going to do this year?
I'll say I think we'll get 10 wins again. Our schedule's a lot tougher this year, but I feel like I can pull some of those tougher games out, and I think I can get the 10 wins and hopefully compete for another playoff berth.
I'm pulling for you. I brag about you all the time. One of my favorite humans here. I love your spirit. I love your character. I love you as a human. We are a better league and community because you're a part of it. And so I'm pulling for you to have one of those magical seasons and be able to taste what it's like to make it to an OMFL Bowl, because it's a special, special feeling. I've only been to 2 in the 20 plus years I've been here, but it's always fun just to be like, yeah, I can get there too, just like all the rest of these guys. So pulling for you, man. I appreciate you. Can't wait to see what you do in season 107.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, Nate, and I love what you guys do here, and I mean, Madden to me is it's a football game we all love. Most of us love football, and I probably wouldn't be into it as much as if it wasn't for this community.
It draws you in, sucks you in, and it's because of guys like you, man. I appreciate you.
For sure. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Shocks of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the guy that's up now is also in our chat, but we're going to hold on. Not yet. Not going to free the nipple just yet. First, got my dude, Mr. Kevin.
There's somebody else first.
I know. I seen him. Mr. Kevin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my rival, but also my shooting buddy who carries me to way more wins than I ever deserved to be carried to in PUBG or Call of Duty or the finals. Well, maybe not the finals yet, but we'll get you there, Kevin.
Not the finals yet.
How you doing, buddy?
Not much, how y'all?
Doing good. Let's talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a hell of a run that you went on. You basically held a stranglehold on the NFC South for a majority of the season. The Atlanta Falcons also had a great season and went on a bit of a run, but it really was your dominancy in the NFC South. What really clicked for you last season?
Well, Ryder played really good. Garnett had an amazing season running. He busted a lot of big runs. Receiving, Godwin and Evans do their thing. They were both over 1,500 yards. Both multiple, I think they both had over 15 touchdowns. And defensively, the Bucs have a really good defense out of the box. Didn't really have to do much there. Lack of pass rush. That's everybody. But I don't really have good pass rush to begin with. I'm more of a run-stopping defense, which did most of the season, but I got gashed quite a bit, especially in the NFC Championship. I had 180 yards with Pacheco.
How much do you hate The 49ers, because you played them tight. I know you tried to play Mr. Humble and it wasn't tight, but it was a very, very, very close game. But there seems to be some real rival hatred growing there for the 49ers.
Oh, no, there's no hatred. It's just, I just laugh. People get mad when he gets a super dominant team and people keep trading him first round picks and trading him players and then complain when he's got a dominant team. And he's already our best stick user as it is and our best team builder, and you're going to give him more toys. But I've never beat him yet. That was my closest I've come, but, I feel like he was still playing cat and mouse, toying with me, and then, all right, now I'm just going to put the knife to the neck. It's over with.
Well, let's talk about your new toys. What was the mindset? You knew you had to let Evans walk. What was the full mindset, though, of your offseason and the draft?
The offseason. The offseason and draft, it's just getting depth because Ryder's about to come up for contract, and that's going to be like 40, 50 mil, I assume. So, I had to let Evans go. I re-signed most of my other guys. I got Winfield. I re-signed Simmons. Pretty much kept the team intact. I signed a cheaper, a little bit younger wide receiver, Gallup. Palmer will probably get the start because I need to build him up. Godwin is up for re-sign. I got to see if I can be able to afford him. I've got a couple guys I've got to cut. Got my left outside linebacker Barrett making a stupid amount of money, but this is his last year, so he's gone. That'll save me like 25 mil right there. It was just like I said, it's just getting depth. I kept the, I didn't have anybody retire. Nobody's really that old on this. Try to improve. I gotta get in the first round. I took a tight end. I was gonna take that offensive lineman, but Dwayne took the pick right before me. So I just went tight end. I signed Smith in the offseason. Maybe I trade Otten, or I just have 3 tight ends. I didn't really use my tight end much last season. The guy I took seems to be pretty good. We'll see. And then I took a center in the second round that was pretty highly rated. But I'll kick him to guard because I lost my right guard. And, just trying to get as many cheap guys as I can that are, serviceable.
Before I ask my next question and then hand it off to Trey, let me make a PSA to the Titans who let the clock go a couple of different times here. If you get down to 45 seconds and there's no pick, I'm skipping you. Love you, but this 7th round clock ticking down all the way is driving me insane. Before I hand it off to Trey, what's going to be the strength of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for season 107?
I assume, it's probably still going to be Ryder. I like running the ball too. I won't have the wide receiver threat I had with Evans and Godwin, so I definitely am going to have to rely on the running game more. I brought Fournette back. He lost a little bit, but I got to decide if I'm going to either start handing the reins off to White or build up Tucker. Tucker's a little faster. Neither of them have the strength I like. I like a strong running back. So run guys over. I'm not worried about juking or doing any of the fancy stuff. I just want you to plow them over and get positive yards. I don't want negative yards. Just not turning the ball over. That's the biggest thing, In the playoffs, I only threw 20 interceptions during the season. Playoffs, I threw way too many, especially in, versus Maniac and then versus Team Money. I just got to be able to not turn the ball over.
Trey, what you got for our guy, Kevin?
What's up, Kev?
So, Trey.
You've got a very interesting schedule, including a mid-season road trip. Do you feel like there's some portion of the game that does rely on home and away dynamics? And do you feel like having a stretch of, I believe it's 4 games against some very tough teams on the road is going to play a factor in the season?
If it's anything like last season, yes. On the road, my team played terrible. I lost all my losses last season were on the road. Would I have 3 losses? Yeah, all 3 of my losses were on the road. I only lost 1 game at home, and that was versus D-Money in the NFC Championship game. Hopefully that
almost
can be
lost one me. Almost.
We did have a close one. And
that dang streak against cover 4.
That wasn't even a streak. That was a crossing route.
Trey is the
even
OMFL
worse.
Rain Man. He don't forget nothing.
And then,
Not shit.
but yeah, I mean, I've had a really tough schedule this year. I start off with Nate and then Dwayne. Like that could be 0-2 very easily, and both on the road.
Yeah. And you have both the Cowboys and Saints are stuck at home. So
Your pick,
Yeah,
Trey, just so you don't miss it.
you're. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Nick,
tough
take it
yeah,
games.
I got you.
Get back to this.
Kev, I'd love to know what holes do you think are still there for the Bucks? Do you feel really secure? I got my 53. Or are there still gaps there that you may go into free agency and try to fill?
I mean, not really. I mean, my team's pretty set. I mean, it's like, with my picks, I wanted to go defensive end or outside line. I run 3-4, so outside linebacker, but I feel like with the lack of pass rush, it's not really worth getting, a top end defensive end or a top end linebacker because at the end of the day, they're not getting the pass rush that we're used to. I mean, we're getting under slightly realistic sack numbers. Nobody in the NFL gets 30, 40, 50 sacks in a season. It's just unrealistic. In Madden, it's different, but I just got to look at how I'm going to do with my team if I'm going to keep Vea for the rest of the cycle. He's 29 years old. He's at a high contract. Do I decide to, try and trade him at one point or cut him? I don't know. It's going to see where, a lot of it's going to depend on what contract demand Ryder has, because I am going to have to adjust from there because, I can't let him walk. I've had him. I love him. Really good quarterback.
Trey, take it home with Mr. Kevin.
Now, you've had a very interesting dynamic. Obviously, you're losing Mike Evans. Went and picked up, I believe it's Michael Gallup. Do you feel like that's going to change your style? Because obviously, you use Mike Evans a lot as a jump ball, red zone threat. Michael Gallup isn't really that style of receiver. Do you think that's going to for you?
Of course, Mike Evans, I could rely on him to, especially in the red zone, that was his style. So, the red zone, he was a good route runner, so good quick routes. Nate calls me the streak master, but, I call maybe 2-3 streak, maybe 4 streaks a game to keep you honest, make you think about the deep threat. But realistically, I don't have wide receivers that are going to burn anybody. Evans was 90 speed, Godwin's 90 speed. The only speed guy I have is Palmer, who's 96 speed. So, it's just relying on good route runners. Gallup has good route running, so hopefully he can, at least fill, some of that void and keep the passing game. I would love to transition to more of a running team. I need to force myself to run more, but it's hard, because you want that 30 yards, 20 yards instead of that. Let me just grind out 5 yards here, 2 yards here, 1 yard here, and then I get beat a lot on those third and longs. Someone runs it, it's like. And I'll do pass instead of just trying that third and long run or second and long run. Just I need to adjust to getting more of a running game.
Now you've got a very competitive and annoying division that's always seeming to grind each other down until the very end. Do you feel like that could be a factor this season, not having Mike Evans to kind of change that aspect in each game for you, or do you feel like you have the pieces to go up against, your Panthers, your Saints, and your Falcons that all have new pieces that are looking to take you out of your division lead?
Nate's, got his quarterback now, so I definitely expect him. He's going to be more engaged and more excited for the game. I don't see him having the same frustration. Once you get frustrated with the game, your play style goes to crap, and you're not as focused on it. He's got his quarterback, so I expect a really focused in Nate. That's going to be super tough. Maniac's got 2 shutdown corners that you can barely pass on. It makes it really tough. With Evans and Godwin, it made it easy because, okay, Evans had a bad game in this game, but Godwin would pick that up. They would bounce back and forth. One would have a bad game, the other would have a bad game, or one would go, on a stretch. That's how they both had, just about equal yards and equal touchdowns because whatever, one would have a bad week back, vice versa. I don't have that now, so I got Godwin, which I know everybody in the NFC South hates, would love to retire, but it's hoping that Gallup can step up. I need Palmer to step up. I've been developing Palmer. He's really young. So it's just hoping one of those two can step up. But biggest thing is I need to get back to trying to run the ball more instead of passing.
Well, Kev, I am not excited to see what your team does in season 107, and I hope that Ryder breaks his big toes right off, stepping off of the plane. But outside of that, you're my buddy, and we'll have some classic battles in season 107, and it sucks that I have to start out our season together because number one, I've been getting my tail whooped from you lately. And number two, it feels like those division games count at 2 losses. And it's like first game out of the bucket, new quarterback, trying to figure out offense. I'm going to be trying to play a game, a practice. I don't know what to do. I got to get warmed up for you. So good luck in season 107 outside of whenever we meet up. And I can't wait to see what you do, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, bud.
Yep, yes.
There you have it, Mr. Kevin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's making his last pick right here in round number 7. And then we're going to bring in right now one of my favorite dudes. I love this guy's energy. He is the opposite energy of Kevin. Kevin's low-key, kind of mellow. This guy is not mellow. This guy is high energy. This guy brings it. Let's free the nipple, your coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Mackey himself. Mackey, how you doing, bud?
Yo, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Poor guy, you've been sitting in here for like 8 hours waiting to get your turn. Man, how you doing?
I'm happy. I just know that we have like 2 more picks and we're done. So I'm trying to get this real quick so I can get the SP for the next season award. So
I like it. Well, it's over to your pick right now. So if you need to,
I'm joking. I'm just happy to be here.
You can get that one. Well, man,
I'm happy to be here. Yeah,
I'm glad that you're here. Let's talk about your Ravens, not the season that you hoped for, but let me talk about how we're turning things around. What's the plan to get the Ravens and Mr. Nipple back in the playoffs?
So my plan on during this first season was actually to pass more because, as you know, I usually run the ball. It's just to get used to the passing game and all that. I think I did pretty good, even though I got like at least 200 interceptions. But even though I got that, I think I did pretty good with Safe Flower and then Bateman. Running seems the usual, so it is not easy, but it seems more easy to do than passing for me. So I was just trying to learn the passing game and all that, but I don't know how I can implement that during this new season because, again, I will be at the CES cruise. So remember, I will be out at least for a week. Then I have to so yeah.
You have to disinfect and get cleaned after your sex cruise. What was your mindset when it came to the team building aspect? What did you need to do differently this offseason to get your team ready?
First of all, offensive line and both lines in defense and offense.
I see you invest heavy.
Yeah, so I noticed that if I want to pass the ball, I did have time and all that, but I still believe that my line is getting older. But now in this defense side, I was good defending. I was at least the first half of the season. I was top 3, top 5 on passing and defensive passing yards, but on running yards, I was like one of the last ones. So I hope that can change during this season. So yeah, that was the main goal for both sides.
Trey, what do you got for our guy Nip?
I got nothing. He cracked me with the joke, or with the whole cruise thing. I got nothing.
That's beautiful.
Mackey, I just would like to know, the AFC has gotten stronger and continues to get stronger. I know that you do have your cruise coming up, and that's going to take you maybe away from fully being able to focus on your team. But once you're back from that, if you're not in too big of a hole, how do you plan on making a run so that you can show that, hey, AFC, the Baltimore Ravens are still a thing?
So I believe I still can make it. It's just, again, so I play Cincy, during this season, and I just lost at the end because I wanted to get an additional touchdown.
Yeah.
Even though I just have to run the ball, and just because of that, he got a pick six, and I lost the game. Similar to Brew and Little Cushy Cushy. I know that you don't like that when I said it that way, but yeah, Little Cushy. So I still believe I can beat those guys. I mean, they're amazing guys. But I believe I can still beat them. It's just that if I'm late to that, if it's too early in the season, I'm still have a lot of chance. But if it's really after half season and I'm below 500, then I'm gonna be in trouble. But then season 3, I promise you, I will be there.
What do you think about this draft? How'd this draft go for you? Did you get the pieces you were hoping to grab?
Yes, everyone was hidden, but I don't really think that matter at the end of the day. Like I was excited when I saw everyone with the hidden development, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But again, the grades were amazing. I got a really nice tight end. Even though I have Andrew, I like to have a second one just as in case when I run a lot of single backs. Finally, I have a halfback who likes meat, not like Dobbins, who was vegan. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fun long season, but it's gonna be a fun one.
Well, we're going to see if we can get you an OMFL labeled man hammock to wear on your sex cruise. Like a nice purple leather one, I think would look really good on you. Show those ladies what's up.
That would be cool, yeah. That would be cool, though.
Mackie, I love you. I will always say that. You're
Me too,
just
bro.
one of my favorite human beings. I am so proud of what you have done professionally and in your life. You're an inspiration to me. I know not everybody knows your story, but I know enough. And I just love, you just pick up the energy, man. I need about 100 more people just like you. Go enjoy your cruise, but hurry the hell back. We miss having the Ravens being a real true contender in the AFC.
I know. I keep saying that to myself, like I want to be back, and it's not to brag about it because I'm not like that. I do believe that everyone is amazing. Every owner is different in their own way, and everyone can get to the bowl, whatever. Like everyone can make it, but I feel that I'm one of the top guys. After obviously Steelers, Bengals, Browns, Saints, Lions, Jets, Cowboys, Buccaneers. No, but yeah, I do feel that I can make it again if I put the game. But yeah, let's see how it goes though. I'm just happy to still be part of it, even though I'm in and out. I'm just happy that at least you still give me the opportunity to play the games, even with my excuses. That hey, I will be out of town this week. So I appreciate you all for giving me the opportunity, though.
Listen, they'll have to put a gun to my head to make me not give you the opportunity. I'm glad you're here. Go enjoy your cruise. Get your butt back safe, sound, clean. Maybe bring some extra Purex wipes with you. But yeah, have some fun and then get your butt back. Mackie, enjoy your season. Enjoy your cruise.
Thank you, guys. Love you all. Bye-bye.
I love you, buddy. Ah, man, just one of my favorite human beings in this league, and came to us through our wrestling league, which I miss. But just a good, one of the many good human beings. Like I wish Little Koch would have called in, and Denbrew, and it was so good to hear from D. Wayne. I haven't talked to D. Wayne in so long, like physically talked, and of course. We didn't get to talk to Maniac. We didn't get to talk to Big Hurt. And Priest didn't call in. I guess he might still be sick. And Bronco Man, there were still some guys I wish we could have got to talk to. It is 10:40. I will give to 11. No. What I said 30 minutes. So I will give to 11:10. At 11:10 Central Time, 12:10 Eastern Time. Go figure it out for the rest of whatever time zones you're in. I will advance to week 2. In week 2, you get 10 minutes. Then week 3, 10 minutes. Then it sits in the bye week. You need to go edit every player that you drafted's photo. That's all you need to edit, their face. Just go to edit, go to their face, pick a new face, whatever you want. It will fix everything else. It just auto fixes the rest. It clicks it out of the glitch. But that's what you need to do. So all of you have all this time to do your training camp. Go edit your faces. in the last week. You can sign free agent 67 and below, free for all 68 and above. Waiver wire, Dwayne will start closing waiver wires. You need to get set to 53. You need to set your practice squad. If you decide not to set your practice squad and the CPU does some weird stuff to your team, I don't care. I'm not fixing it. You were told to set your practice squad and you decide not to. It's on you. We're adults here. Sorry. And then we will advance to the regular season tomorrow night. Trey, did I leave anything else out?
Not that I can think of.
Tomorrow we'll get Pro Bowl. Tomorrow we will get coach ratings. Tomorrow I will set XP. I probably need to set XP right now. Crap. If you've already started doing training camp, sorry. This is what happens when y'all pick a
Doesn't
fast.
affect training camp.
Oh, okay. Well, lucky for you all. I will go fix
schedule.
XP as soon as I end this. I will announce the new rule changes and just make sure everybody's in the loop. So lots of stuff will come out tomorrow. I am gone this weekend, so I'm gone all day Saturday and most of the day Sunday. So Friday is my day to get everything done. Trey, close us out with a final thought, bud.
Well, it's time to ramp up again. We've had a couple weeks off to get the playoffs going. Get back ready to go for season 107.
Bill has corrected me. Thank you, Bill. It is 66 and below is a free-for-all. 67 and above is a waiver wire. I always mess those up. So thank you, Bill, for being there to correct me, especially with how late it is for you right now. I appreciate you for doing that. What a great draft. It really was. 2 draft shows, the first time ever that the OMFL has had 2 draft shows going on at the same time. So you kind of had your ESPN/NFL network options to pick from. I miss having those guys here, but it is what it is, and they want to do their own content. So I say go for it. I'm going to try never to squash content, but also the draft shows have been something I've always done. So I was going to do my draft show. But the most turnout, the most engagement. We had very few people click out even at the very end. Just a great, great night. So let's enjoy the rest of this all season. Let's do this final little hiccup. Let's get those waiver wires in. Everybody gets excited to see those close. We'll start closing those tomorrow morning. And we'll be off to regular season 107 before we know it. And then me and Trey, we're back at it on Monday of next week doing Press Pass Live, giving our prediction show about what we think is going to happen in season 107. Trey, thanks for hanging out with me, buddy. It's been a good night, and I appreciate you helping make it a good night.
Not a problem.
Guys, I love you. Remember, take care of others. Take care of yourself. Peace.